It's time. Time for Ogres. Damn, I gotta say, I have a little bit of hype built up. New hat. Loktar Ogre. Hail to the king, baby. He's gonna say it. So we'll pretend we haven't read the new rules, that we were always 4 cannon maniacs. 4 cannons? Oh, sick. Oh, okay. I mean, I clicked on the thing to open the tab, right? And so I couldn't help but notice that there were 2 war scrolls. But I haven't looked at anything yet. The king has returned. Wide is the crown. Not the Burger King crown. The king. Kahi thanks for the tier 1 35. Expedition 35. Good meme. Dude, that game is actually so sick. I'm pleased I played it. I clicked on New Game Plus. And I beat everything on New Game Plus as well. I don't have Simon. I gotta beat Simon on New Game Plus. I haven't fought him yet. I thought I might do it on stream. In case I need another 7 hours of cool music being repeated over and over. Love your crown, King. Thank you. It's very high quality materials. Let me tell you. I went through the game as Morocco. Big Moccasin. He's weird. He has weird abilities, but I think he's quite good. Anyway, it's time for a Kino. Yeah, I hope so. Biggest king of Borgers. I only like our new rules. I haven't ruled out that possibility, but I came with a hat just in case. And just in case it's celebration time. Should you use the Pyro Hammer or the Sniper from Thunder Junction for your Burn Commander deck? Oh, a magic question. The Pyro Hammer, don't know what that is. Or the Sniper from Thunder Junction. Do you mean the Is It one that it deals 1 damage to everything? Or whenever 1 damage is dealt to something, I believe it adds 2 or some such. You can give that guy Death Touch, which makes him kind of a slayer. Boros Lady Ooh. The war rules aren't good. It might take a while to get Ogre it. No. I'm very... Look, I play Ogres. I have a lot of experience getting over bad rules. It'll happen in an instant. Just you wait. But I don't have to worry about that, because these are great, right? Ty Joaquin. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. Burn is a pretty bad archetype in Commander, and so I haven't explored the ways to make it good. But I'm looking up Ty Joaquin right now. She costs 2, it's a good start. Whenever source control deals non-combat damage to a creature equal to the creature's toughness, draw a card. Source control would deal non-combat damage to a permanent player this turn, deals that much plus X. Okay. I think probably the way to go is like sheer number of spells per turn and a bunch of those random 1, 2, and 3 mana goobers that say whenever you cast instant or sorcery, deal a damage to each opponent, you know? and kind of critical mass on those things plus a bunch of spells per turn maybe is it. It might be the way. In general, like as a generalizing thing. The real question with the crown is, do you need to jury rig some epic back section to make it fit around your head? Those things never fit you. Well, over the years, Americans have gotten bigger, right? And so too have Burger King crowns. I have it on the biggest natural setting. I figured I would have to rip it off and tape it together. No, it's on the biggest natural setting. Are there any Mardu commanders that are fun and draw less hate than Kalia? Yes. Mardu commanders tend to draw a decent amount of hate because they often represent very real life total threats, you know, just in general on account of their abilities. Many of them are recursion themed. Yeah, Queen Marchesa is fun. You start to get a feel for how much exile a particular person chooses to play with as far as removal when you're playing Queen Marchesa. And when you're playing against Queen Marchesa, you start to realize why people dismiss removal that isn't exile to a certain extent. You could have a commander as your Royal Burger King advisor. Who would it be? Probably Glarb, the frog. He's a good advisor. He advises the top card of your library into play, as long as it's a land or an expensive permanent. I kind of like that. A fried dispenser, if you will. Jane Guru, thanks for the big prime for 8 months. Appreciate it. You're priming your armies today. Are white rattle cans just temperamental? Primed using black every time, buttery smooth. Every time you're using white, looks like a spit take. What's the temperature outside? That being said, yeah, white, I don't know if it's based on color or not. I suppose it could potentially be. But I know that whenever I've primed, it's been pretty temperamental. If it's too cold, it'll kind of go on weird. You really got to shake them up a lot. Maybe it's just that you notice more when it's white versus black. I'm not sure. I use kind of a cream color. Are you doing an isometric thing, or are you just priming it one color? Yeah, I used Games Workshop. What is it? Bone. I think it's called Bone. And the text is something called Cillian Rail. Their primer was actually good. I was kind of surprised. It was not cheap, but 70 hasn't rained in days. I mean, that seems fine. It seems fine to me as I read it. Yeah, Wraith Bone. That's it. That's the one. Brown primer. Yeah, there's no, honestly, okay, depending on your technique that you're trying to pull off. You know, there's a bunch of different ways you could do it, but at the end of the day, you know, it doesn't truly matter what color of primer you're going to use. A lot of people use it almost as a base coat in a certain way. But I was about to make a sweeping statement, and then I'm like, oh, wait, yeah, there's actually a ton of ways you can do it. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. The white pigment particles are bigger, so it makes sense that as a spray it would be worse than the other colors with more fine pigment. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not saying this to say that it's not. I actually just have no idea. Interesting. You just slap chop You're black with a white dry brush. Make sure you spray in your bathroom with the door closed. No. You need ventilation. Ventilation, very important. Don't accidentally die. I want to see if I accidentally missed somebody else. There's a bunch of talkers today. Maybe it's because there's so much news, and plus there's Ogre news. And it's a Monday, and it was a holiday, I'm told. I don't know what holiday. Maybe Labor Day, I'm not sure. That is true, white has substantially bigger particles than black, at least not sure about other comparisons. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, the thing about painting black is a lot of times you're going to be spending a whole lot of extra paint later just covering the black up. Big white particles, new indie band. Oh, Memorial Day, okay. I was close. It included the word day in it, which is the close that I was. Yeah, airbrushing is goated, that is true. Gray, good. Damn, I feel like... Look, let's go on a walk after this. But this crown is weird, and let's read the Ogre rules and see if the hype is real, or if it's just normal, or really bad. And then we can go on a walk after all the news. How about that one? Yeah, heavy is the crown. Heavy is the head that wears the burger. Anyway, news. Scourge Guy Ran grubs up. The last time we mentioned food here was on the tables of the Flesh Eater courts. Probably rotten and stinking to high as ear. This time the meal's been laid on by the biggest eaters in the mortal realms, the Ogor Mott tribes. So what have we got for dinner? Oh, is that a foot? That must be Morocco collecting blue mage things in Expedition. Is it human? Actually, why are they looking at us like that? Lois, tell them about all the cool stuff quick.
Holger scowled as the wounds his mates had hacked open across the Trogger's body closed up. The great ugly beast stomped from the swamp with the rest of its kin, ripping open Ogors with the teeth of its skull cudgel. "I'll sort this," Holger muttered, or thought he muttered. Years of operating his trusty iron blaster had left him deaf to most things. He shouted a spittle-laced command to a gaggle of Noblars, who quickly tried to look busy, clutching heavy cannonballs or sacks of blast powder and shoving them down the mouth of Holger's great cannon. The Troggoth looked at the iron blaster. A stench wafted ahead of it, stomping closer. The Rhinox that pulled the iron blaster beginning to grunt and stomp in truculent unease. Holger corralled the beast with a snarl. A flaming wick was shoved into his hand, soon brought to bear against the cannon's taper. "Here you go." The Troggoth blinked. With a volcanic blast of light and noise, the iron blaster fired, rocking on its sled. The Troggoth burst apart in a shower of filthy flesh as the cannonball cluster struck it. Boom! Holger cheered as he eagerly breathed down sheets of smoke. Ho, ho, ho.
I think he could have done a grosser laugh. Oh, I gotta get Cam back. You will notice a culinary theme through most of today's Scourge of Gyran update, particularly in the battle formations. Mawpoth Manasses and Greedy Edas. First, they're always hungry and fixated on their next meal so they can move during your opponent's charge phase. That's a weird phase to move in. Including into combat. Ew, they gave us the corn thing. I don't like that. Table for 5, Mr. Gut Masha. Meanwhile, the other lot prefer to start their meal immediately after killing it. Meat's better when warm. That's true. To regain their strength. The Greedy Edams have a habit of getting back up when you think they're dead. Regen. What's in a name? Well, if it's a big name, sometimes quite a lot. There are 3 new Ogre honorifics in this update. Ogre Tan, Ogre Chan, and Ogre Kun. Yeah, I love honorifics. All of which involve getting stuck in. Sometimes into an enemy unit, sometimes into lunch, and sometimes both. Guts Lugger is pretty handy in a prolonged combat dining experience, granting a bonus to hit when you haven't charged. Mage Swallower doesn't involve eating wizards, but some wizards did once get eaten, which is why ogres can worsen enemy ward saves. Ooh. Before the battle, the Mega Gobbler. Damn. Chooses a unit type, infantry, cavalry, monster, so on, as its chosen meal. Every time they destroy or eat such a unit, they gain an attack. How many Mega Gargants could an ogre eat? 2 or 3, maybe. Mega Gobbler Sama. Sounds like a name of a turkey.
Twitch Prime.
JDT0312. Thanks for the big prime. Appreciate it. The War Scroll updates for the Ogre Maw tribes are for the 2 War Machines. The Iron Blaster, it's a good choice. And the Noblar Scrap Launcher. That's a waste of a choice. Would have liked to see Lead Belchers. Perhaps a Titan. The former is already entirely unsuited to the overgrown forests of Gyran, unless of course you really want to destroy a tree. I do. Its enterprising crew have taken a load of sharp stuff into the barrel, which will really make a mess of infantry, cavalry, monsters, and shrubberies. The Noblar Scrappers have taken to flinging poisonous fungi, blood wasp nests, and other local biohazards at the foe. Less armored they are, the more chance something unpleasant will happen. Well, sounds bad. Hey, alright. Just got some teriyaki meat to celebrate. Hell yeah. Battle profiles. Scourge of Gyran Iron Blast 170. Not bad. And the stupid scrap launcher that you can make in the same kit as an Iron Blaster. And so it's the saddest thing. For 150. It's weird that we're getting an update to it, and I secretly still hope it's bad. From today's hefty big guys who smell pretty awful. Hey, I shower. I shower and I use... What's that spray? Anyway. Eau de toilette, as the French say. Well, hefty big guys smell even worse tomorrow. Hear that buzzing sound? It's Nurgle. It's Nurgle. Nurgle is tomorrow. So we got an Iron Blaster for 170. And a Scrap Launcher, which I don't care. I actually hope it's bad, so you don't have to play that awful thing. Love the hat things. I thought I'd dress up for the occasion. It's Ogres, right? We're getting a little excited here. Sounded like we got big names and not mount traits, which is a little bit of a left turn after so many mount traits were shown off. It's good that the big name system is back. I like big names. I think they're cool and fun. Enhance. Yeah, they did Noblar stuff. Can you believe it? All right. Then again, these updates, I have my copium already. I haven't looked at it yet, but I prepared copium just in case, okay? And that is, these updates are focused on generally parts of armies they think are bad, and the Beast Claw half of the army is actually pretty good in that you're flipping a coin for game all the time. And so it makes sense that they wouldn't give us anything, because our half of the army is doing, quote, all right. unquote. Anyhow, we got two sub-factions. Mawpath Manasses. Once per turn army. Enemy what a weird, only the enemy charge phase, huh? And it's a triple keyworder. Fixated on feeding. Pick a friendly ogre infantry unit that is not in combat to be the target, and it's once per turn. Roll a die on a 3-up. The target can move a number of inches equal to the roll. Can move through combat ranges, enemy units, and can end the move in combat, but you would not want to, probably. If it does so, the target is charged. Interesting. Has charged, huh? So, enemy charge phase, you pick one of your guys, roll a die, and it either moves 0 inches or it moves 3, 4, 5, 6 inches. In any direction, you just move. So it's sort of like a free redeploy during a charge phase. So at worst, Mawpath Menaces is a free redeploy that can fail every enemy charge phase. That stacks with redeploy, because you can, of course, do a normal redeploy. So this is for, like, you know, suddenly getting on an objective, suddenly getting close to terrain, denying a battle tactic, possibly, but you got to be really close to it. You have to be really close to deny some sort of tactic. You typically wouldn't want to get into combat with it, to be honest. I mean, I guess I could think of a situation where you might, but you can't use it after redeploy. Yeah, I don't mean on the same unit. I'm thinking like, oh, now two of your guys can redeploy, quote unquote, per enemy turn. So you're like, you're sort of big oozing the table by scooting 2 of your guys per enemy turn towards some various area or away from something. Well, away from something wouldn't matter because it's during the enemy charge phase. Right. I guess it still would, right? You can use it whenever you want. You could make charges harder. It is after enemy charges, after enemy charges. So I guess you can't make charges harder exactly. I was thinking you could use it before like the combat phase, but yeah, and count as charging isn't, and it's only infantry, right? So it's not like you can count as charge and get your like +1 damage on the charge stuff. You could let them charge and then you run away so you're out of combat. Unless you rolled a 6, that wouldn't help. You need exactly a 6 to stay out of combat this edition. And even then, if they curled a little bit, you still wouldn't be able to escape. I don't know what they're intending for this one. Oh yeah, not in combat. All right, I was all ready to say that you'd have to roll a 6 and then this and that, but no, you have to choose something not in combat, so you can't escape. Is it supposed to be a counter charge? I don't think so. When would you ever have the opportunity to counter charge and then like be 4 inches away randomly? I mean, maybe it could happen, but that's a very, very short counter charge. I don't think it's good. I think it really is a second redeploy, but not in the way that redeploy can be really good. Like it's just move move some infantry 4 inches closer to wherever you're running to for next turn kind of thing. Typically, I wouldn't want to just like enter combat on my opponent's turn unless I fought first or got some impact hits out of the deal in the come in. Maybe you could set up the next turn better charges, I suppose. It's sort of like you've seen your opponent move already. Their movement is done. Their charges are done. And now you try to move even closer so that on your turn you can then use your whole move and have an easier charge. It's sort of like setting up a charge to a turn before the turn that you do it in, maybe? Anyway. It's a strange ability. It feels like some ability that Khorne should get. Yeah, you count as having charge, so I imagine you'd get your trampling. But it does only work for infantry, so you're not getting guaranteed trampling from like BCR stuff. But you are getting some sort of impact. The range is so short though. Man, this is weird. This is a weird one. I'm not sure how to feel about it. It is a confused rule. Well, as far as Gutbusters are concerned, what were you taking anyway as Gutbusters, right? You were taking Master Butchers for +1 to cast on your Butchers, right? Because +1 to cast is good. All your good spells cost 7. And so on and so forth. You weren't taking Brittle Stock because it's for Beast Claw. You weren't taking Eyes of the Storm because it's awful. And you weren't taking Feeder Cannons because it's awful. So like, as a Gutbuster player, your only choice was +1 casting rolls for your wizards, which is a good sub-faction bonus. I think like a weird, failable, sometimes extra redeploy thing that once in a blue moon you can tag someone in combat or step onto an objective, you know, if you happen to have been really close to it or something like that, might have play. Is it better than +1 to cast? Probably not, but it's like maybe an option. Yeah. It's like maybe. It's maybe something. It's weird though. One dice countercharge, but don't need to end half an inch away. Yeah. Even beyond wizard casting being great, it's just always reliable. Why is this one failable? And then casting is failable too, right? But yeah, with Keening Gale, if you use it, then you can run and charge. Then you can redeploy and fixate. Maybe it's for a combo. You're playing a combination army. You Keening Gale your Iron Guts, right? On the opponent's turn, you redeploy. And then in the charge phase, you fixate because you can run and charge. Damn, that's a lot of command points, though. If you're trying to... Does it give you a second shot? No, it doesn't give you a second chance, right? Because it is charge, so you can't, like, countercharge, fail it, and then fixate. Because it does count as a charge, so you don't get, like, backup countercharge action. Yeah, I'm trying to find ways of this thing being obviously super good on paper. But I think it just amounts to an extra redeploy for free every turn. Sometimes. Which is fine. Greedy Edas. Post-Prandial Warfare. Huh? Pick up the D3 friendly Ogre infantry units that were in combat with an enemy unit when it was destroyed this turn to be the targets. Turn 1 slain. Trash. Next. Just trash. Big names. Alright, big names are enhancements. Oh, it's any hero. It's not just Gutbusters. So we do get something for free. Okay. We get free power. It's not mount traits, but the same dudes would be getting a bonus anyway, right? So free power for the BCR. Guts Lugger. Add 1 hit rolls for this unit's combat attacks if it did not charge in the same turn. Nah, no thanks. Mag Swallower. Subtract 1 from ward rolls for enemy units while they're within 6 inches of this unit. That's good. Okay. Okay. Yo, that's kind of nice. The Frostlord Mega Stomper Shit Kicker guy. Subtracting from ward rolls. Not even if they're fighting, just within 6. You got kind of a big base there. Put this on a butcher that's going to get very close to combat. Maybe if he's really stuck close to one of his units. Kind of unlikely because they're going to be running and charging, but it's possible. Put it on a Frostlord. Because really what you're trying to do is, you know, hit him with the brutal stock. And if you're a Frostlord, you're just trying to do a bunch of mortals on the charge. And if their ward goes from a 6 to nothing, that's huge. So Mage Swallower, yeah, okay. So you got your Frostlord Mega Missile, and now he can blow people up even better. Sounds great. What was I going to give him anyway? It doesn't matter because it's free, right? He has trait and artifact and a big name, just free on top of everything else. He's a priest included, you know, whatever. Our artifacts are not good, but that's fine. Because it's not fighting against those. Yeah, Mage Swallower if you're trying to kill shit with a Frostlord like back in the old days. Free damage. You love to see it. See, I do get to keep the hat on for a little while. I was starting to get concerned because the sub-faction's not interesting. But hey, Mage Swallower, free damn. It's free real estate. G-Well, Canadian 5, thanks for the $5 dues. What's your favorite faction update so far from Scourge of Gairan besides this one? Fyreslayers was pretty cool. Not for every Fyreslayer player, only for a very targeted type of Fyreslayer player, but at least it succeeded once it targeted that type of player. And I'll have a better answer for your question when I do we'll do a big recap of all of them and a tier list of how hype all of them were at the end. But I recall Fyreslayers being pretty cool as long as you only wanted to play with Magma Droths. It's sort of like the Beast Claw update of Fyreslayers, right? In a certain respect. Anyway, free damage, you love to see it. And then once per battle deployment phase, Mega Cock Gobbler. Pick one of the following key. So this is deployment, huh? Deployment phase. Pick one of the following keywords: infantry, cav, mon, star, wa machine, and Daigo the Beast Umehara. For the rest of the battle, each time any damage points are allocated to an enemy unit with the keyword, by this unit, which unit? Just every unit, I guess. Every unit in your army. And the enemy keyword unit is destroyed in the same turn. Add 1 attacks characteristic of this unit's melee weapons. The effect is cumulative. Also, we get the level up mechanic that the Castellite keep. They stole from the Prince Longdong. They stole it from him and gave it to us. Doesn't say non-companion. This effect is cumulative, fun allowed. Works for your whole army. And you don't have to choose until deployment, which means you get a sideboard. You've seen, they've revealed their commander, and now you get the sideboard. And be like, oh, I'm playing against Mega Gargants. Okay, I choose Monster. Oh, I'm playing against Slaves to Darkness. Oh, I choose Cavalry. Interesting. The problem with this ability and all abilities like this. No, it is this. It's not your whole army. It's just this particular big name guy. I got ahead of myself a little bit. I don't know why that one screwed me up, but I saw the black text and I'm just like, oh, your whole army. No. Only the guy. Chill. The crown is the crown is squishing my brain. It's just a dude. Anyway, I was going to say the problem with abilities like this is you have to completely win first. And then it's like, here, have fun in the future, but that's like not how the game works. You typically don't have one unit that destroys something and then lives and then moves elsewhere and then destroys something a second time and lives and then moves and destroys something a third time. Like an absolute, everything is perfect. You can't stop rolling sixes. No one gets in your way. No one countercharges you. Typically, you know, you spend your chips. They do the one thing and then they die. Like usually that's what happens. And so abilities like this, while seeming fun on paper, how the game plays out typically are not. Like they don't quite work. Unless the unit you're putting on it is so insane that you expect it to carry you fully to victory, like old Gristlegore in 2nd edition or something, where it's just like one unit is winning the whole game for you for 2 hours, you know? Like, anyway, but it's on one hero, and yeah, I guess you choose like Beast probably on your Frost Lord, and he gallops over to the board edge and kills like a prospector and gets +1 attacks on all his stuff, and then he makes an L hook over here to try to then enter the normal game and maybe trade with something. It's a fun sounding ability on paper, but it's not good. You choose this one. And for foot ogres, I don't know what to choose. Probably still Mage Swallower. What if foot ogres choose? Well, they don't have anything to choose between. It's just these. Tyrant is not killing anything. Or really entering combat. Your wizards aren't either. So like hit rolls in combat doesn't matter. Hit rolls in combat doesn't matter. I suppose you put it on your butcher so that when your butcher is close to combat, the unit that he's buffing gets to fight and ignore some wards, right? Your Iron Guts are ignoring ward 1. Like, yeah, it's this one. I suppose. You cannot give enhancements to unique. That's correct, yeah. But we don't have to worry about that. We don't have unique named heroes anyway. What are those? What are those? It would be so much better if it just required you to damage a unit and not destroy it. I don't know how it would. I mean, there's a lot of ways it could be a lot better. My mind is a flurry with all of the ways it could be a lot better. But here's the thing. Having to fully move, successfully charge, enter combat, kill a unit as step 1 in the plan, that's the problem. They want you... That step 1 is typically the thing you're trying to get to. All the things you're doing with your army and your decisions and your tactics and where to put your guys, and it's all really to get to step 1, so-called, right? But they're like, first get to step 1, simply finish drawing the owl, and then the owl gets a bow. It's like, no, I drew the owl. That's, anyway. So, very weird, probably at the end of the day, results in a second free redeploy for a different unit per turn. Which is not nothing. Movement is good in this game, and it doesn't cost a resource. But I'm probably not ever actually entering combat with it. I'm just scooting closer towards something I want to get close to next turn, right? This shit sucks. Big names, Mage Swallower, very strong. You have to get pretty close, but pretty strong. This is trash. This is trash. All right, we're batting 1.65 right now, which is more than 0. G-Well, thanks for the $5 again. You don't have to be unit that kills the target, just do some damage to get the bonus. Does that make it better? No. I mean, good try. I appreciate it. It does not. No, what I want, or what you need, is something that helps you do the first part, right? Something that helps you get into combat in the first place, helps you win that first combat in the first place, helps you charge into it, position towards it, move across the battlefield to be able to get into it, not get killed on your way there by this thing or that thing. It's all about getting into that first combat and winning it. What happens after that is whatever. Usually you get killed, right? So that's the problem with abilities like that, is they're like, okay, after you did the hard part, now, like, you won the championship, now here's an ice cream, you know. A delivery mechanism. Damage on the first one. Like, HeyWoah, what you're thinking of, so like, for instance, if this ability was exactly the opposite, so what this ability says is, forever and always, until the end of time, you get +1 attacks, and it's accumulative, right? And it lasts for time immemorial, forever, except for the first time, right? If this was exactly the opposite, and you got +1 attacks until you fought and killed the first thing, and then you never got it again, it was only the first one and then nothing else ever, it would be better than from the second one on forever, right? So if it was the exact opposite and it only helped you in the first combat you were in, it would be good and people would want it. That's how important it is to make sure like the first combat is good, is that if it was only the first instead of everything except it, it would be better, right? It's all about winning that first one, getting to the first one, having a delivery method to shoot yourself across so that you're in, so that you have the ability to maybe charge the first time or jump over chaff or something like that, you know, so on and so forth. And yeah, it would have to be a Beast Claw hero for this, because none of the Gutbuster heroes can ever kill anything. So this is not written for them. Nor is this one, actually. All of these are written, they're called big names, which is ostensibly a Gutbuster rule, but then all of these are written for Frostlords. They're not written for Gutbuster heroes, which is weird to me. They might as well call these mount traits for how useful they are on them. Then again, I'm happy they called them big names, because first of all, that's funny. And second of all, I mean, a mage could take Mage Swallower, or a butcher could take Mage Swallower and just shimmy within 6 for a combat here or there. He'd be a powerful damage totem, you know, for the guts. Well, let's look at these War Scrolls. Hopefully the Iron Blaster is cool. I'd like to take one. Points, please. 170. You could fit maybe a 170 in here if it was good. $9,942 Iron Blast Star. 18-inch. Man, I'm sad that's not 24 anymore, but that's been 18 for a while now. 2 attacks, 4 and 2s, 2-5. This looks very the same. It doesn't have a Grape Shot, though. Grape Shot was the secret good part about it. It wasn't the top damage one. You wanted to get within, I can't remember what it was before, 12 or 15 or something. Yeah, the close shot was the real damage shot back in the day. And by that, I mean like 3rd ed and stuff. Damage is 5. I think it used to be 3 plus a D3, which is basically 5 on average. I'm fine with it. You know, 3 plus a D3 is potentially 6, but I would rather just have the number and not roll yet another die, right? I'll take it. I'll take 5 instead. Good. And then the physical attacks, I don't care. Like, if they're different than they were before, I don't notice nor care. I consider that an upgrade. Shrapnel Blast, once per turn army. For the rest of the phase, add 1 attack characteristics of ranged weapons. Oh, so 3 attacks, okay. And this unit's ranged weapons have crit 2 hits. You're not going to crit a lot by only rolling 3 attacks, but hey, all right, I guess it means that 33% of your hits are crits, right? Because you can go 4, 5, or 6. And so 33% of your hits are going to then be crits, I guess. So 3 attacks, 4s and 2s, rend 2, damage 5, crit 2 hits. 18. For 170. I don't know. I mean, having something at 18 inches, I think you could do this. I think you could do this. Just choosing something that gives you something to do in the shooting phase that matters. Don't forget, it can move 9 and then shoot, right? Mostly you're used to probably war machines having 4-inch move or 6-inch move. This guy's a little rat fink. He's pushing the nitrous. 170 isn't... If this was 200, it would make my decision a lot easier. I think you could take this thing. Oh, I see. You're right. They copy pasted this. Okay. Firing its lethal payload point blank. Oh, point blank? Because it can't shoot in combat. That's a keyword now. So, literally incorrect. Teacher. It can't shoot point blank. Yeah. Literally incorrect. Not correct. It cannot. But hey, all right. Flavor failure. You could, I guess, yeah, that's true. That the flavor, it must be talking about the dog shit subfaction, right? So you could choose the dog shit subfaction, and then the flavor text would be right. That's their out. That's their out. And what did it used to be? I know it used to be too expensive and not good, yeah. 18-2, 4s and 2s, 2D, D3 plus 3. D3 plus 3 versus 5, I actually prefer 5. It's average anyway. I don't want to roll yet another die. Fuck off, right? And the much diminished Iron Blaster Hail Shot, 12, 8, 4, 3, 1, 2. Much diminished from before. It used to be the case that the grape shot was the secret, like, good part about Iron Blasters, but they made it worse this edition. And this thing used to be 24. Now it's 18. And you can pick big shot or shoot thing, and it's not that good. Oh, I guess the attacks have been increased. Like, it has more attacks now, but I don't care at all. So +1, yeah. All right, +1 attack. +1 attack and only 170. That's what I see. Right. You lost the grape shots, which had already lost their teeth anyway, so I don't care that much, right? Rhinox got +1 Ren. Now that you want to be in combat, you don't. Yeah, you don't want to be in combat. Briefly, you did when they had Blubber Grub Stench back in 3rd edition, but they killed that real quick. Yeah, anti-charge rend. Why? Okay. I don't care. Anyway, 3 attacks, crit 2 hits. You cannot play more than 1 Iron Blaster, though, because this ability here, Shrapnel Blast, is once per turn army. So, you playing 2 of these, one of them doesn't get the buff. So you don't ever want to play 2. You put 1 in, right? But maybe you do. I don't know. You could. A lot of other armies have very similar ranged profiles to this thing after the buffs for the same price or less, and none of them run it. Their equivalent. None of them run the equivalent version. So either that means that for that cost is bad, or their army doesn't want it in exchange for something else. Maybe both. But I could see trying it out. And then the Goblin Scrap Launcher, which I actually hope is bad. It lobs 12 attacks, 4s and 2s, 1-1. 6 hit, 5 wound, maybe 4. Run 1 damage, 1, 2 damage, Rhinoxes, and then it fights. Scrap away. Pick an enemy unit that had any damage points allocated to it this phase by the unit shooting attacks to be the target. Okay, so you just have to do 1 damage. You're not trying to do damage. You're just trying to do any damage. Roll a die if the roll equals or exceeds the target's save characteristic. Halve the movement. So you roll a die, and if they're chilling on a 3-up save, you can half their move. If they're on a 4-up save, you flip a coin to half their move. Interesting. Has to start 18 away, though, which is, I guess, the bare minimum for an ability like that to be good. In addition, on a 5-up until starting next turn, subtract 1 from the number of dice when they're making charge rolls. The buff is kind of nice. Or the debuff is kind of decent. I don't think I'm using it. I don't think I'm using it. 150. I would actually rather do 5 damage at 18. "12 attacks with crit 2 hits isn't actually terrible. I figured it wouldn't have any rend. It's like 2 extra hits, maybe. Oh, you read the attacks as range. You thought the range was 18. Or you thought the range was 12 and the attacks were 18. Yeah, the rend 1. Yeah. I don't think you're trying to exactly be a debuff style army. I mean, you just want to kill shit. Once per turn, any shooting phase. It could be an opponent shooting phase as well. Yeah, the only one gave -1 to hit. I could see doing this in the opponent's turn, 18 away, and then getting lucky on a roll that you have little control over. If, interestingly enough, if the saves your opponents have are terrible, then they're kind of immune to this thing. But yeah, 5-ups to hit in the opponent's turn, I don't know. I don't think I like it. Hey, alright. Final verdict. Well, fixated on feeding is weird. You might actually take it instead of the cast, but I don't know. Post-natal warfare, trash. Gutslugger, trash. Mega cock gobbler, trash. Mage swallower, good for Beastclaw. Okay for Gutbusters if you're getting real close to the action with your Butcher. New Iron Blaster, possibly fun as a 1-of. And Scrap Launcher, too fiddly. Too many fiddly crap. I'm gonna give it an F, but grading on a curve, I'm gonna give it an F plus D minus, I think. Hey, all right. Somebody redeemed a hats off, and I feel like I need to do that. So hey, good shot.
Mr. Owl, how many licks does it take to get to
the queen?
Let's find out.
Let your fingers do the walking.
I'm Mr. Buckets. Toss your balls on my top. I'm Mr. Buckets.
What do you get when you press on a can of Noxema?
Great balls of comfort.
You get
Let Noxema clean your face.
I can't believe I ate that whole thing.
Oh, whoever heard that before?
Unjustifiably in a position that I'd rather not be in.
I'm calling paramedics and your family, Mr. Miller.
You can make this creamy cheese sauce in seconds with American cheese and
Cream.
mushroom Lipton cup of soup. And you thought cup of soup just made soup.
Oh, yeah. Cream in the World Wrestling Federation.
Wait a minute,
and there is
More real meat. You'll be glad we made him taste better. And so will he.
And so will he. We're back. Yeah, I thought the scrap launcher ability was very confused as well, because if they have great armor, then you're probably not going to do any damage, so the ability won't work. And if they have terrible armor, then you're probably not going to roll above their armor number, and the ability probably won't work. So it feels a bit confused to me. And if you do it on your opponent's turn, you're hitting on 5s. Nah, no thanks. Big name is funny. Subfaction, maybe, but still probably you just want to cast your spells. Not great. And the fact that we didn't get mount traits and none of the war scrolls were Beast Claw war scrolls, I basically expected that. The Beast Claw half of the army is doing better right now in the win percents. And historically speaking, amongst these updates, they're not buffing the good part of the army. Unless the army is just dog water, right? So I wasn't expecting that, really expecting that to happen. I was sad the lead belchers weren't one of the war scrolls. They really, and I mean, they put their foot down, okay? I'm your father. And I say no. And what I say goes around here. We will not ever make lead belchers even remotely good, and that's final. They will not do it. So okay, fair enough. That's not part of your design philosophy. I had a loose part of the hat there. Yeah, this is a corporate demands it. The CEO. Anyway, let's cleanse our palate with some Slaves to Darkness. I'm sure they're great. Scourge a guy ran. Are you deserving of glory? Well, apparently not if you're an ogre player. Glory comes to those who desecrate the lands of all who oppose the dank Gowods. Tear down their idols and slaughter all their people. Well, most of the time, glory comes to them. Sometimes they are treated despondum. Lydia has avoided that particular indignity. So let's hear what she has to say.
The Dark Oath surged through the thickening
The
wood,
Dark Oath.
crashing through branch and briar. They raided ahead of their lord's host, their prey, the soft-skinned settlers of Thyria. Vargan's axe was red from the many severed heads adorning his belt. The war chief swearing oaths to Karneth in hopes of further slaughter. Yet, he had not reckoned on the storm-touched ones as they materialized amongst his kin. Daubed in sigils of death, they laid about themselves with sword and hammer. One of his warriors, Lothgear, was blasted apart by a tongue of lightning, and Vargan felt his courage falter as he faced almost certain doom. As the storm touch slew the raiders, a monstrous bellow rang out. The source crashed through the trees half a breath later, the beast and its rider crushing the hammer god's warriors and scattering them. Eyes alight like fire, Abraia raised her spear and roared. Vargan felt a surge of fury ignite his blood. He struck down a storm-touched warrior still reeling from his lord's arrival, planting his axe in his opponent's impassive war mask. The Dark Oath charged, howling their hatred for the Liar God's craven ilk. "None shall live!" cried Abraia. None did.
She sounds like when you click on a cultist character of an RTS who's about to be sacrificed, you know? Got that down. You know, the readers are just random office people, but Lord, that's a voice for a silent film. Look, she's getting into it, okay? She's getting into the character. The Iron Blaster is technically better, but still feels a little too similar to what we already have. Yeah, you are right. It's like, it is slightly better, possibly. You play it if you, like, have been wanting to. I don't know if it's optimal or not. But that's technically almost something. Is Abraxia bad? Not as such, no. You just kind of assumed she was good because of how cool she looks. Well, that was your first problem. That's not how it works in this game, sadly. But you know that's a bad move with GW. Yeah. Abraxia isn't bad. She's just very expensive, and also she wants you to do a very expensive thing. So that's Abraxia. She's actually cool. She's actually cool and good. It's just she's expensive, and she wants you to do a very expensive thing. That's the thing with Abraxia. You're going to be like hyper elite, but you're going to have a... Wait, did they fix her combo? They might have fixed her combo. But hey, all right. That's, to me, I can't remember any specifics, but I remember that was my takeaway from it. A woman voice actor. Yeah, dude, I just played Expedition 33. There were tons of woman voice actors in that game. They were pretty good. To be TBH. Couldn't understand a word they were saying. It was in French, but they sounded really good. The forces of the dank gods do like a good battle formation, and there are two in this update. Chaos Horde sees the Dark Oath emulating the actions of Chaos Warriors. They should emulate the action of throwing them in the trash. Sorry, I blew up there. If they seem particularly enraged, the Dark Oath will whip themselves into a frenzy to impress them. If they smell awful, the Dark Oath will put on a bit of a cough. Huh? Champion of Chaos really benefits characters who gain an extra 2 attacks for walking the path of glory. Well, that's the problem with foot heroes. They walk the path. They don't drive the path. There are 3 new artifacts. The Varanite Shackle is especially useful to Dark Oath hordes, as it gives nearby units Ward 6, which can become Ward 5 if they pledge themselves to Nurgle. So they probably will. Meanwhile, the Amulet of Chaos harvests the energy of slain foes and uses it to bring Dark Oath warriors back to the fight. Lastly, the Head of the Unworthy can be claimed by a hero should another of your heroes be slain to gain 8 Dark Apotheosis points. It's almost like they wanted that other guy to die. Okay, so we're getting a bunch of Dark Oath buffs here, which makes sense because it's the part of the army no one cares about or plays. I don't even know if it's good because I don't care, but somebody probably does. The War Scroll update is for none other than Abraxia. Oh, okay. Somebody here just asked if Abraxia was good, and I gave my canned response from the before time Abraxia. And so I would ask the stenographer to strike that last response from the record, because I don't know the new Abraxia War Scroll. Maybe this one's good. Already an all-conquering nightmare on the battlefield, her acquisitiveness has ascended to new heights. Put simply, what was yours is now hers. And if you're lucky, if you're still alive, to thank her for taking it off your hands. Okay? She now charge through enemy units, and she can heal when she's contesting an objective she doesn't yet control. When she wounds big foes with her spear, they suffer such severe mutations they can't possibly think about holding an objective. You know what's better than any of that shit? Just killing it. But hey, alright. Nearby units that don't have a pledge to chaos are inspired to greater acts of violence and trying to take an objective. It's kind of like an offering to Abraxia. She could easily take it herself, but it's the thought that counts. And only 1 War Scroll. Okay. Do I have the next one lined up correctly? I do not. It's Slaanesh. I do not. It's Lumineth. I do. It's Slaves. Zoom in. And now, books. What's the previous version? We'll open that up. Cross-referencing. Battle formations. First and foremost, let's look at what are the ones you choose from right now. United in Dankness. Well, there are at least one friendly warrior chaos hero and one other friendly demon hero on the battlefield. Add 2 to control scores. Trash. Ironclad Onslaught. Pick an objective that is contested by any friendly units. Place a defiled token next to it, then roll d3 for each enemy unit contesting an objective that has a defiled token on a 2-up. They take damage. This one's actually cool. I like this one. This one was cool. It was the one that I played against when most StD players played against me. They were playing this thing. And it did things. It accomplished stuff. I thought it was cool. The defiled token, it just stays forever. Just stays there. That's cool. Aren't these rules optional? They are, yeah. But I was speaking about past Abraxia. And now I get to look at new one to see. Once per turn army reaction, you declare a fight ability for a friendly Demon Prince unit. Nah. Once per turn army, your movement phase. There's a friendly Dark Oath hero on the battlefield. There won't be. Okay, so before you chose Ironclad Onslaught, and it was actually pretty cool and tactical, and then you had 3 craps that weren't good. Now you get 2 more choices. Once per turn army, your hero phase, Devotees of Ruin. Your friendly warriors a chaos unit, then pick up to 2 visible friendly Dark Oath units that do not have a pledge to chaos keyword nor holier than 12 until the start of your next turn. The targets have the same pledge as the warrior of chaos unit. Okay. Okay. So you pick a warrior chaos unit, and then you can grant your pledge to some Dark Oath nearby. Is there a pledge that's like, it's not mark, right? It's different than mark. It's pledge. You don't give them a mark, you give them a pledge. How is it possible that they made this confusing? Well, let's look at the pledge. What kind of pledge are we doing here? Scrolling, looking for Dark Oath units. Here we go. Darkmoth Marauders. If it charges phase in the automatic... What's a pledge? Help me out here. Pledging is marking. It happens in-game instead of army building. Okay. It's now during the battle. Would this be a pledge? Oath of the Marauder? No, it's an army rule? Okay, we're going all the way back up again. So Eye of the Gods, Mark of Chaos. Pledge is now during the battle. You're looking at the index, not the tome. Oh, you're right. Yeah, every time this gets me. I'm looking at the index, not the battle tome. Every time I'm bamboozled. I forgot I need the tome. Okay. Well, strike all that shit. I guess I won't know what we're looking against. Because I don't have the book. Yeah. The chat delay caught up everyone who's telling me that. I see. Man, I thought I was finally hoodwinked by this. Anyway, all right. I'm not sure because I don't know any of the others. I guess I could just go find it. It's on the internet, you know? I could just get it real quick. Paragons of Darkness, add 2 tax characteristic of melee weapons used by friendly non-monster Slave of the Darkness heroes. Are there any non-monster Slaves of the Darkness heroes that I want in combat, really, for any reason? I just asked that as a somewhat rhetorical question. I think no. Corn is +1 attack, no charge. Oh, it's just +1 attack now. Slaanesh is 3d6 charge, drop the lowest. Zinj gets a weird teleport that You can only use on your turn. Nurgle 6 up ward that upgrades to 5, as mentioned in the article. Okay. All of them besides Abraxia and Archaon are non-monsters. Okay. Yeah, just Discord DM it to me. I'm going to download it and keep it in my bin over here so I can pull it up on stream. Anyone who feels like it. Yeah, so it's just Bellicor, Abraxia, and Archaon. So like mounted hero guy, you know, so on and so forth. Karkalord. How come the Karkalord isn't a monster but Abraxia is? That's weird. Anyway, I don't... She's bigger? Okay, hey, fair enough. It's the bigness that counts. She's bigger, okay. No, it makes sense. Hey, Slaves to Darkness players, is this good? Could you just not, like, man, if only my Dark Oath had a pledge to chaos, then they would be amazing. I mean, maybe I could see it in a vacuum. I'm having to ignore a lot of specificity here, but it's definitely possible. Lemon on Rye, thanks for the lemon and the rye for the tier 155. When the streak started, the sub could still buy a sandwich, Peepo said. Hey, sorry about that. Why would you have 2 Dark Oath within 12? Well, it's pick up to 2. But I mean, I take your point. Depends if Vanguard and Chosen are still broken. I guess for the poor soul who just wants to play Dark Oath, which I can't put myself in their shoes, but surely that has to exist somewhere, right? They at least get pledges now. Anyway, artifacts of power, fell artifacts. End of any turn, Amulet of Chaos. Pick a visible enemy unit within 12 of this unit to be the target. Then you can pick a Dark Oath infantry in combat with the enemy unit to be the friendly. So it has to be the end of a turn in combat, and you didn't kill the enemy. So you've already kind of failed. Appreciate it, Nezermore. I'll grab it afterwards. People not use Wikipedia anymore. I never like to on stream because this is going to sound dumb probably, but like I like putting the war scroll up here. You can kind of see the background of the book when they put it on the webs. I kind of like doing that. The Wikipedia thing, it does give you the info and it's great, but I wanted just like 1% more production value of having it kind of look like the GW thing. But yeah, I should just bring it all up on Wikipedia. You're right. You're simply right. Roll D3 on a 2-up, inflict an amount of mortal damage equal to the roll. If there's a friendly target, return number of slain equal to the roll. Nah. No. The Veronite Shackle. Friendly non-warriors of chaos, slaves to darkness units have ward 6 up. Well, they're wholly within 12 of this one guy. And then Head of the Unworthy. If a friendly saves the darkness hero with a dark apotheosis points is destroyed, give this unit 8. Okay. So you have one hero and then another hero. And if the other hero dies, then this hero gets a bunch of DA points. So Therodons can get a ward, in other words. Don't let yourself be bullied. I mean, I won't be bullied, but a good suggestion is a good suggestion in any case, you know. Is there some kind of funny combo you can do? A whole bunch of foot heroes, get them killed on purpose, and like stack DA points? I don't know what they do. Abaddon's getting another 2 attacks is also pretty decent. It's good for Tzeentch, but Tzeentch doesn't have warriors or knights, so actually, yeah. I told you not to get bullied. This isn't Now you're bullying me. Anyway, Abraxia, are you cool? 14-10-3-5. Like, what a wheel. That's a wheel. That's a wheel, good wheel. Gorgonbola, the accursed. 5 attacks, 3-3-2-3. Anti-hero +1 rend, charge +1 damage. Jesus, okay. It's a fucking weapon. So against a hero on the charge, it's 5 attacks. All out attack, maybe 2s and 3s, 3, 4. She's swinging some fucking Kragnaros ass weapon. Again, in really specific situations, but still, it's funny. And the Thanatorga Vicious Claws, 6-4-2-2-2. Okay. Unstoppable evasion. Look at the dude, it's the fucking meme, the big body, tiny head meme. I love the big body, tiny head meme. Perfect. Unstoppable invasion. Once per turn, army, any charge phase. If this unit charges this phase, pick an enemy unit within 1 to be the target. Inflict D3. Then roll 2d6. Move a distance up to the value of the roll. It can pass through models, but it must end the move in combat. Hey, it's the Frostlord ability. Got the Frostlord ability. And it got the cool part, which is D3 auto. D3 auto, and then if you roll box cars, you can make a big playmaking thing, like 10 up. A 10 up on 2d6, you could possibly do some playmaker thing. Lower than that, and you're not going to be able to land anywhere useful. 3d6 made the playmaker roll average. Now with 2d6, it's only a rarity, but it is still possible. You just got to roll really high from somebody who played with it for a while. Champion of the Undivided. Pick friendly non-unique Slays Darkness unit only than 12 of this that does not have a pledge. For the rest of the turn, add 1 to the rend and weapons used by them, but they will have a pledge. Probably. Like you're probably just always playing with 1. So this really doesn't do anything. Unending Will to Conquer. End of any turn if this unit is contesting an objective you do not control, heal d6. I expect her to conquer an objective when she lands on it. For the most part. You pledge once per turn, so there will be stuff to target for a while. Okay. And you have less marks now. All right. End of any turn, Mutative Spear. Pick an enemy unit that had any damage allocated to it. Target has a max control score of 1 for the rest of the turn. It's like helps this thing not work in a certain way. But then again, I expect to kill stuff, really. So you could give a 2 Vanguard and then have the Therodon unit be red 3 against infantry. So somebody asked, is the new Abraxia good? I mean, her attacks are good, and her wheel is good. Her rampage is good. People tell me that this ability is usable. I don't know about this thing and this thing. I suppose any potential healing you can give to this wheel is strong, I suppose. Not really. Scoring is the absolute last thing you do. Scoring is the last thing you do. But when do you determine contesting? I guess if you're standing on it, you're instantly contesting, maybe? I'd have to go open up a book and look at it, but the bonus isn't good enough for me to care anyway. It doesn't really factor into it too much. Yeah, contesting is not scoring. You are right. Yeah, I would probably play the old one, maybe. I can't remember the old one. because it's in a book I don't have, but like she has a cool rampage, and she's just like meat and potatoes, a quality killer unit. I suppose this is her force multiplication here on this thing. Whatever the answer for these two final abilities is, I don't really care. It doesn't affect whether or not I think she's good. So I don't much mind. 360 is a lot, though. Friendly non-unique slaves, holier than 12, that does not have a pledge. So if you're playing any of those, then maybe. Old one only buffed Vanguard. Old one only buffed the unit that you were definitely playing already. Maybe that's the problem with any update to Slaves to Darkness is, what are you currently doing? The hottest shit ever. Do you want to do less hot shit? No. Maybe that's the problem with any change they would have done here. End of turn. Active player abilities. Inactive player abilities count up control scores, determine who controls, and then score. So whether or not you're controlling it, that doesn't happen until almost the very end. So this thing happens first, because this is an ability. And then if you killed the unit, you're controlling it, and this doesn't work. If you didn't kill the unit, its control score drops to 1, and then you see if you control it, and you probably do, and then this doesn't work. Right? Well, no, I guess you could, I mean, this is an ability too, isn't it? And you control both abilities, so I guess perhaps you could stack them how you wish. Much like in Magic, responding to yourself. You're just like, well, before I determine that, give me the heal. Hey, all right. I don't think it much matters in any case, but it is important to know how it actually works. Slaves to Darkness update. Unbelievable levels of I don't give a single fuck. Holy shit, I don't care. Out of 10. I might even grade it on a 100-point scale. I don't care at all out of 100. Dark Oath are stupid. They make the army bigger than it should be. They could have been used to fill out an army that actually needed updates instead. They're dumb. All this shit's worse and looks worse, both, than what you were doing already. Yeah, what the fuck ever. Very much apologize to anybody who likes Dark Oath. I don't mean to bully you. But it takes stern stuff to look at Fridge Frazetta and be like, no thanks. No thanks. I'll play this other stuff instead. I'll play the Bone Splitters of Slaves to Darkness instead. Thanks. No. All right. F, and then on a curve F. Don't care out of 10,000. Sorry, Seraphon players. Sorry, Slaves to Darkness, Dark Oath enjoyers. Everybody has their opinions. A lot of people don't like ogres, and you are allowed that opinion. And I'll fight for your right to have that opinion as well. Rosetta loved painting naked barbarians. He did, and he was great at it. It doesn't change my point. Scourge Guy Rand seeking enlightenment. All right, let's all become enlightened after being too judgmental. Welcome, people of the realms, to a land of wonder, enchantment, and illumination. Because illuminium was discovered in Europe, so they get to call it that. It's illumination in America, but it's illuminimium Asian in Europe. That was kind of a forced aluminum joke. Open your mind and you will learn much here today. I guess I should open my mind more. About the Lumineth Realm Lords and their Season of War update. May Adam Choker, the Enlightener, enlighten you. Absolute Moonman, thanks for the $10 on YouTube. Where do I sign up to fight against their right to have that opinion? Thanks for the $10. I appreciate it. You did it, brother. That's it. You click the button that gives me $10, and then you are registered for service in the army against their right to have that opinion. I'm doing my part. Hey, thanks for doing it. I appreciate it. Always fun to play along.
The beast reeled as it was struck.
Bro, chill, bro. Yo, hold on. That was a loud beast. I had this all turned up for the lady. Dude, Adam Troke, power voicing. All right. Chill. Anyway, enough about being judgmental about other races. Let's watch the Lumineth video.
The beast reeled as it was struck, a bright beam of light transfixing it like a shimmering lance. Still it came on, bound for the Lumineth's Oralan phalanx. None amongst them would falter while the banner fluttered high. They knew the verdant grove must not fall. That was their charge, the foundation of their alliance with the forest folk. A second beam struck the beast, coring its bony carapace and shearing off a horn. It was stronger than the last, as the conclave of Cenari wrought their arcane arts in concert, magnifying their power. Yet it barely faltered, that mutated horror, which bayed and roared despite its horrendous wounds. The Oralan wardens braced their pikes and locked shields. That was when Altharion strode forwards into its path, swords bared in readiness. It bore him down even as he struck the fatal blow, the lambency of his eldritch existence flickering brightly. The beast groaned, slit open and slain. There was a brilliant flash before Altharion disappeared under its collapsing bulk. Moments later, Altharion appeared on the Lumineth's opposing flank, his light refulgent as ever, his blades raised in salute to those he had just saved.
A notably diminished Adam Troke reading the Lumineth stuff. I get the feeling his heart just isn't in it unless it's big fucking lads henching it up. But still, good work. There are 3 new heroic traits for the Lumineth, all of which benefit other units. A flawless commander adds 2 to their troops' move characteristic. Very handy when you're taking objectives or angling for a charge or both. On that subject, Martial Perfectionist can give your infantry +1 to wound if they're fighting an already wounded foe. Not normally an ability I like very much. It's another hoop to jump through. But I guess if they want you to be somewhat of a combined arms, then kind of makes sense. Final trait is Aether Quartz Requisitioner. Pardon me. Wherein the bearer chucks a lump of Aether Quartz to a wizard who needs to cast a particular spell. Talking magic, there's a new spell lore for Lumineth, the lore of Prismatic Resonance. Yay, more spell lores, I love it. More. All the spells in this lore are unlimited. Yo, meaning you can cast each of them multiple times with different wizards. In fact, Beam of Heish inflicts more damage the more it is cast, while Unseen Force first stops an enemy unit running, then subtracts 1 from their hit rolls if cast on them a second time. With Beacons of Protection, units wholly within 9 of any Lumineth wizard can ignore the first point of damage inflicted upon them. That sucks. Its range increasing with subsequent casts. dozing while driving, crashing my car off a cliff. There are 2 war scrolls for the Lumineth, the Venari Banner Blade, and the Light of Eltharion. Oh, another light. I suppose he was in the initial readings, fair enough. The former is so revered by other Venari that they tighten their belt ranks to protect it. If the Banner Blade is on an objective with a unit of Orlan Wardens, you'd be hard-pressed to shift them. The Light of Eltharion can now return to the battlefield if destroyed. We're not entirely sure how you destroy a being made of light. Covered in a cloak of darkness, perhaps. Confuse it with mirrors. Is that a Conan reference? Chuck a prism at it and turn it into colorful beams. I'll let you figure that out. All right, 130 and 250 for both of them. Oh, a random fact? Let's see it. The magic section of the core rules has had a few subtle but important updates. First, priests now have a means to build up ritual points without needing to declare one of the prayers to chant first. That's probably a decent idea. I happen to be in an army where you can just choose one and it doesn't matter. You know, like your unlimited one, you can essentially spam it. It's not a big deal. But I'm sure there's some army where your only prayers that can be prayed for are like limited in some way, so that makes sense to add something like that. So they could just sit there juicing up for a while. And there's a reduced penalty if you happen to annoy your god, whether through meditation, intense concentration, or simply by sticking your fingers in their ears to drown out the sounds of Carnegie. They can now set their rituals in motion more efficiently with the universally known prayer sacred rites. The rules for manifestations have also had an update, bringing clarity to which rules apply. Once again, the rules for manifestations have once more, for the 10th time, had an update, bringing clarity to which rules apply to all manifestations and which apply only to moving or static ones. This sentence, in a vacuum, already tells me that they aren't clear enough. Just reading this. Quote, bringing clarity to which rules apply to all manifestations and which apply only to moving or static ones. That almost is like a self-defeater. It already sounds too complicated. Just from that. But hey, all right. We'll be taking a closer look at them shortly. Sacred rites. Pick friendly priest. Make a chant roll. If you roll a 1, you remove 1 ritual point instead of D3. And then you just get a number of ritual points and it's unlimited and everyone can juice up. Yeah, just juice up. That's cool. Sacred rites. Fine. Yeah, that makes sense. And then the enhance, Lumineth, aspects of enlightenment. Sorry to go back for a second. Not a big deal. I was just about to get to the Lumineth War Scrolls. We can chat about the other thing, though. So go back for a second, but counterpoint on Slaves update, the head of Unworthy Artifact is actually great. If only because it actually lets you use your army roll. It's basically impossible for anything to ever get 8 points. Making Eye of the Gods essentially just ipsum lorem. You are right. Now you can bring your silly 80-point foot hero and then like force him to die. Yes, yeah. I made sure to single that one out when I was looking at it. I'm like, okay, this is a funny combo. And it reminds me, it's a situation that reminds me of Flesh Eater Courts, where they're like, hey, your foot heroes have to actually enter combat and win. And then after that, they get a bonus. And then everyone is like, yeah, that's not happening. And then they gave an alternative way of you getting those points that's possible in the actual game. And it feels like the same thing for Slaves to Darkness, Dark Oath, Eye of the Gods thing. Melee foot assassin supposed to do something, literally can't, just due to the nature of the game. So we'll give you a different way to farm it. And it's by some other hero getting himself killed in a second edition, well, first/second edition Corn Pops combo sort of way, where you're getting your own guys killed on purpose. Sounds fun. Anyway, you're right. Moving on to Lumineth Realm Lords. Flawless Commander, add 2 to the move characteristic of Lumineth Realm Lords infantry. While they're wholly within 12 of this particular unit, that's great. I don't have to know anything about Lumineth. +2 movement in a bubble is just good. How much infantry are you running? I don't know. But if you're running any, I'd like to add +2 move to it, unless there's some heroic trait that's already a guarantee for them. Once per battle reaction, you declared a spell ability for a Lumineth Realm Lord's Wizard within this unit's combat range. Okay. Add 3 to the casting roll. Once per battle, you just add 3 to the casting roll. Big bonus. Kind of good. Can target self. That's good. Martial Perfectionist. Pick a visible enemy unit within 12 of this unit that is damaged or had any models slain. So combat phase 12-inch that had any models slain or is damaged. So you shot it with something first. And then you entered combat. And now you target it. And now you roll. And then on a 3-up, you add 1 to wound rolls to combat attacks made by infantry to target that for the rest of the turn. I feel like doing the damage to it first is already enough of a hoop. You already had to roll dice and get close enough. And they had to roll armor saves and stuff. I don't know that you need another 3-up after that. And you have to get that hero within 12 of that unit also. Yeah, like +1 the wound rolls is good on infantry. It feels like too many hoops to jump through. Too many basketballs to spin on pens and stuff. I don't know Lumineth very much this edition, so I'm talking in generalities here. And I know the Lumineth armies are very combo-based. Well, not really combo-based, but very set in stone, we'll say. Lore of Prismatic Resonance. Beam of Hish for 6. Unlimited. Pick a Lumineth Realm Lord's Wizard that casted visible enemy 18 that has not been picked to be the target of this ability this battle round to be the target, then make a casting roll 2d6. Add 1 to it for each time it has been cast by a friendly wizard this turn, so it gets harder each time. Starts at 6. D3 plus X. Oh, we did it. We're into plus X. It's the first time I've seen this. It begins. We're into D3 plus X. Soon we'll be like that one 4th edition. What was the 4th edition? I can't remember. Beatdown box set. Fireball that had X and a Y on it. We're close. We're closing in soon. Where X is the number of times to a maximum of 3. Okay. That this spell has been previously cast by a friendly wizard this turn. Hey, alright. Unseen Force. Pick a visible enemy 18 until the start of your next turn. The target cannot use run. In addition, the enemy has already been picked to be the target of this ability. Subtract 1 from hit rolls for the target's combat attacks. And then Beacons of Protection. Until the start of your next turn, ignore the first damage point allocated to friendly non-monster realm lords. Add 3 to the range of... Yeah, I don't care. I can't remember what the spell lores are like in the Lumineth book, but they probably are better than these. I don't know. Don't play the army. Not sure. But these don't strike me as amazing. Maybe they just are. So you can't gang up on something, but you can dish out pretty consistent more. Yeah, you just... Beam of Hish really is the standout to me. I know that, you know, casting the same spell on somebody once to give them -1, like, kind of whatever, but Beam of Hish reminds me of some Lord Croak stuff in 3rd edition in a certain respect. Depends on how many wizards you have. And it's sort of blanket carpeting mortals at 18. This is the one that could be like, okay, the problem with my Lumineth army is that I don't do enough damage. Well, then maybe you can play like Tzeentch wishes it could play and play this thing and just beam everybody, you know. Cassie beam. And the new War Scrolls, Light of Elt Harion. 6634. 4 up wards, oh, that's a big ward. 6-inch move sucks though. Searing Darts of Light. 12, 3, 2, 3, 2, D3. 5, 2, 3, 3, 3. Power weapon. And then anti-hero, anti-monster. 2, 2, 3, 1, 3. Alright, so he's a little Tasmanian devil. But he moves 6, I don't know. Am I judgmental about this movement? Where I'm just like, I kind of don't care what any of this stuff says. He's slow, whatever. Maybe I'll just get killed by him or something. The Light of Elton John. Surely, yeah, I guess what I would have to see is his move isn't really 6. His move is 6 plus whatever you can reasonably guarantee he always has as far as delivery mechanisms. And so add all those up and then show me his real movement, and then I'll say whether I like him or not. Once per battle reaction, you declare a summon ability for a Realm Lord unit, and this unit has been destroyed. That summon ability has no effect. Instead, you summon this guy. Now, does that count? Can I summon an endless spell? Does that use the summon ability? Is that what they intend you to do this with? Is you, instead of summon an endless spell, you summon him? Imagine giving literally any ogre hero that attacks stat line. I mean, it wouldn't make sense for an ogre. You'd have him hit on 4s and wound on 2s. But yeah. If we can like get him killed and then just summon him somewhere, that's kind of neat. Yeah, he's unique, which is the problem. You can't put any funny stuff on him. Just give him +4 to move. They can just do that. Okay, well 10's pretty good. I would rather have him than an endless spell most of the time, you know. I'll be honest. What about the Venari Bannerblade? The absolute one-handing Chad. Yeah, somebody slammed the door outside. He traded Ethereal for a 4-up ward. We'll make that trade all day. All day. Ethereal or a 4-up ward, that's not close. Easy 4-up ward all day. Although, dude, what if you're fighting the Frostlord with the -1 to wards? That shit's sick. I'm not joking. That's a sick ability the Ogre's got. Anyway, this guy's awesome. He looks awesome. I wish he was useful in the game. Add 1 save rolls friendly Venari infantry while they are contesting the same objective as this unit. In first edition, this guy would be god tier. Okay. In first edition, where you had to sit on points and you couldn't actually leave them, and it really was about anviling up on an objective and digging your heels in and defending that objective for the whole game somehow. Vanner dude that just +1 save rolls in an aura around him. This guy would be a like an auto include in first ed. But we just play a different type of game now. And so that's a strong ability, but are you really just camping an objective forever? Probably not. He looks cool. I wish he were cool. Bannerblade continues to defend the shelf. Aw, that's sad. Because he looks cool. I like the idea of him. But I think we're just living in different times. Is he bad? God, no. You know, straight up +1 to save rolls. Venari infantry. Like, that's still going to be hard to move that. People quite often take Bannerlord on a tournament just because he's cheap and can take any Venari. Oh, so it's that too. Okay. I forgot about the force organizational thing. Perhaps you might not be able to take something, or yeah, the force organization chart. Dude, I hope it's true. I hope somebody plays with this. If what you're telling me is that people sometimes do, then I will be pleased, because he looks awesome. And like, +1 save rolls is a crazy benefit. What you do with the Banner Blade is throw him up in the shrine terrain, and that gives him fly and run, and then he's zooming. That's great. Anyway, good shit. What do I score this at? My score is going to be weird because I don't know much about the army. I haven't played with it against it this entire edition. I played against Lumineth a lot in 3rd edition. A lot. Haven't played against it at all in 4th. Flawless Commander seems generically good. This thing, if you have a linchpin combo spell, making sure it gets cast is good. Way too many hoops to jump through for that thing. Blasting Mortal Wounds seems funny, but on the face of it, it feels like your other spell lores are better. Light of Eltharion, he's a fucking murderer, and then you can summon him over and over. It could be fun. And Venari Bannerblade, people tell me good players play with him already. And he just got old school all-out D, or Mystic Shield, if you will. Well, not old school Mystic Shield, that was reroll ones. But mid school Mystic Shield, we'll say. I hope people put him on the table. Give him a silver wand and put him in the mech, dude. Putting him in the mech so he can zoom around on the flying citadel. Sounds great. I give this update, it's got to be at least a C, right? There's things that you might do here. Yeah, I'll give it a C- easy. Next. Where's my Slaanesh? And then also there's a Sunday preview that we got to look at. Scourge of Gyran gifts from the Dank Prince. Close that. Close the slaves, and then we got that. Can we tempt you with some new rules? If you're a Slaanesh player, the answer is yes. Yes, you can tempt me with some new rules. Please. Of course we can. You're here every day, lapping them up, hungry for more. It's becoming an obsession. You love it. You need it. Don't feel bad, the Prince of Excess approves. Here's Lydia, who is hiding several crab claws up her sleeves on the benefits of joining the cult. Don't ask where she got her harp. Bad at Games 2197. Thanks for the big prime for 16. Appreciate it. TYVM. Let's listen.
Male and female, wax and wane,
suddenly we're getting political.
Seethes with symmetries, yes. No sooner had exploring it been proposed than I craved it, until I would maim hundreds for a whiff of mildewed air. Lord Dillion struck a heroic pose. Elegant elven fingerbones clattered against his crystal-studded armor. The plague cultists didn't seem receptive. They spat derision, even as armored Sybarites held blades to their throats. Dillion scowled. The vengeful allegiance has already decided, of course. Lord Silesk decreed that in Gyran lay verdant fields of potential. Dillion swirled his cloak of perfumed skin, its barbed clasps scraping him. One of the maggot cultists spat on his shimmering boot. Fury welled
MAGA cultist?
his backhand strike took the wretch's head. Pus-brain dullard. You of all folk ought to understand our work, but if you will not abide... From the trees, gangly figures staggered. Slangors, claws clacking, glassy black eyes focused on the Nurglites. Remarkably, the cultists had fallen silent. It was in Gairan that I encountered my bestial friends here, Dillian purred as he stroked one of the Gorkin's muzzles. Their pleasures are cruder, but I'm sure you and they shall become well acquainted nonetheless.
Hey, all right. The first of today's delightful excesses are a pair of battle formations. The invaders want to get into enemy territory and steal it from them. Well, I like the sound of that. That's a good one. Ahem. The Pretenders, meanwhile, feature a hero with such a grotesque surfeit. Is that surfeit? I'm assuming it is. Of hedonistic qualities, their followers are in constant awe. They flex at every opportunity, gaining a new heroic trait from the figureheads of Slaanesh, or the hedonistic obsessions tables during the deployment phase. Hedonistic obsessions table sounds tempting, doesn't it? There are all sorts of boons to tickle Slaaneshi fancies. The need for perfection makes an extra unit euphoric if it fails to accomplish something perfectly, such as charging or casting a spell, as they are driven to do better next time. Oh, okay, so this is the will to improve, you know? The love of the game. The Celebrity Warlord. Oh, Celebrity War... See, that's funny. I kind of like the idea of that. Putting a little gladiatrix kind of stuff in there. Ascends a hero to such a celebrated status that mortal followers flock to their service. The Master of Temptation is perhaps the most delicious. If your opponent opts, which is an instant for one, scry and draw a card, not to use any temptation dice in their turn, you can restrict one of their units to using only core abilities, such as moving normally or fighting. Sounds good on paper. Want to use all-out defense? Can we tempt you with one of these special dice? Oh, I thought you could just shut it off. Okay. Hard T on surf, so it's surf it. Okay. All right, so it's like what the surf ninjas do to a surfboard. Call back to that VHS. Anyone over 35 in chat? The War Scroll updates for the Hedonites are for Slangor Fiendbloods and Sileski, the Vengeful Allegiance. The Slangor now lie in wait for their foes and pounce on them when the moment is right. What could be more terrifying than 9-foot goat men with claw hands, huge horns, and knee-high boots appearing out of nowhere? I don't know, a good unit maybe? Probably Sileski, whose inspiring presence encourages both mortals and demons to fight harder and faster. Put them in the middle of your battle line, and you'll be assured that you get plenty of attacks in before your opponent. On top of that, if Eski slays a wizard, I should say, he'll offer up one of their trinkets, talismans, or maybe even their severed head to Syl, whose wizard level will increase every time he does so. Okay, so you have to, like, remember step 1, finish drawing the owl. After you finish drawing the owl, maybe you get something. This will help them cast Wandering Minds, a new spell that strips ward saves from their foes and grants them to their demonic followers. So we got, once again, Slangor, or not once again, rather. This is only the third time. And then Master Blaster. 231.50. All right. Hey, Slaanesh players in chat, you're going to have to help me out with this one. What's good? Pretenders, once per battle army deployment phase, Prodigy of Excess. Music for a jilted rulebook. Pick a friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh hero that has an artifact of power to be the target. Pick a friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh hero that has an artifact of power to be the target. Give the target a heroic trait from the figureheads or the obsessions tables. Heroic trait is given to the target during deployment, not during army composition. Yeah, you love to see it. I like things you get to choose as late as possible. Sort of a preset, kind of like a sideboard after you see your opponent's commander kind of thing. Ecstatic Revelers. Add one of the Ren characteristic of melee weapons used by friendly infantry while they're wholly outside friendly territory. This is actually kind of nice. Actually kind of nice. Just +1, any infantry, in the place that you probably want to be, which is outside in friendly territory. Depending on battle plan, might be weird, but we'll see. Anyway, kind of nice. And then this is like the fun, I get to choose another thing one. A whole subfaction for a single heroic trait. I mean, that heroic trait better be pretty damn good, but still. Anyway, I'm liking this one a little more. Speaking of hedonistic obsessions tables, I guess we'll be able to grade half of them right here. Celebrity Warlord costs a thing. Damn, heavy cost. So it costs a heroic trait, which might have in turn cost a subfaction choice, and it costs a command. Your movement phase only. Pick a friendly non-hero Cyberite that has been destroyed. Set up. Okay, so it's set up a replacement. That's why it costs. Because you get a replacement and you don't have to roll. It's the fairly typical. If it costs a command point, it always works. If it doesn't, you got to roll for it. One of those things. Enemy hero phase only, Master of Temptation. You can only use this ability if your opponent has any temptation dice. Pick a visible enemy unit with an 18 to be the target. For the rest of the turn, while your opponent has not used any of their temptation dice to replace a roll, the target can only use core abilities. Okay, putting your thumb on the scale a little bit of that whole thing. Only using core abilities on a particular unit could be devastating. Potentially. The need for perfection. The first time each turn that an unmodified charge roll, casting, unbinding, or banishing roll for a friendly non-euphoric unit, all within 12 of this unit is 5 or less. So the first time each turn, unmodified charge, cast, unbind, banished, non-euphoric, wholly within 12 of this unit, and it's 5 or less, they get euphoric for the rest of the turn. But the roll doesn't succeed, though. So the roll still fails, but then you're euphoric for the rest of the turn. Man, it would suck to fail. It would suck to fail one of these on like a 6. And then even though you took this, it still doesn't help. I don't know. How amazing is euphoric? Is euphoric that amazing that the need for perfection is worth it? I don't know. Unless the euphoric keyword says the last roll you failed succeeds. If it said that, then okay, but I don't know. What about these? Slaanesh 9485. Not the worst. Axe of Dominion. 43323, 62412. What a weird profile. 62412. What a bizarro profile. You don't see a lot like that. Euphoric is pretty good on a Keeper of Secrets, crit 2 hits on run and charge. Is there a world where you're actually hoping to fail one of these rolls so that you get a free euphoric, or is there a pretty surefire way to get euphoric anyway on that? Asking for myself, not even like what's the normal way of getting euphoric? I guess I could look it up, but I'm trying to interact over here. Until then, I'll keep reading. You get a euphoric unit for each die you give the opponent. So it's still that, huh? It's still that. I wondered if they changed it. You get as many euphoric units as temptation dice. You offer up to 3. I don't know why. I thought For some reason, I thought they changed that in my head, because that's how it has been, and everyone made fun of them. And in my head, I thought they had changed it due to universal dislike, but I guess not. All right, and you would never give 2 dice because then your opponent gets a free boxcars or whatever. No, they updated something about it, I remember. But maybe it just softens one part of it. Anyway, euphoric is a good keyword. It's weird to get it very randomly off of failing something, though. They made temptation dice fail sometimes for your opponent, but you still get euphoric the same way. The only change is 1 to 2 on a temptation dice is what you rolled. Okay. So it has a chance to fail instead of guaranteed you lose the game with boxcars or whatever, but you're still not going to probably give your opponent 2 of them. Sort of asking for it, right? Anyway, Champions of the Gilded Throne. When players are alternating picking units to use a fight ability, when it's your turn to pick a unit, instead of picking 1, you can pick a friendly non-hero Hedonites of Slaanesh demon unit wholly within 18, and a friendly non-hero Sybarite unit wholly within 18. Resolve the second fight ability immediately after this. So you get Lumineth double lightning reflexes thing, but you have to care about two different both non-hero keyword stuff. But wholly within 18 is pretty generous. Like, as far as wholly withins are concerned, wholly within 18 is one of the more generous wholly withins I've ever read. The row is 1, 2, 6, 6, 6, 6. Yeah. Man, Temptation Dice strike me as one of those abilities where if it was the exact opposite, it would be OP. Like if instead of you giving your opponent auto 6s, 4 out of 6, on the dice, right? And instead of you getting euphoric and them getting a free 6, if it was exactly reversed, so that you give your opponent's unit a euphoric and you got an auto 6 and you could do that up to 3 times, the ability would be actually overpowered, right? And to me, that's terrible. Like, if you exactly reverse the target and recipient of your main army ability, and by making it the opposite, it becomes absolutely overpowered, and you would choose to do it that way 10 times out of 10, that means something intrinsically is wrong with that ability. You're giving your opponent a stronger benefit than you're giving by a whole lot. It's not a test that I would test a ability with very often, but when it comes to giving your opponent an actual benefit, I would do that test on it. And if the test comes back, I'd rather be the opponent in this situation, then you got to go back to the drawing board. How many times will we try to make browbeat work in this game? Wandering Minds. Pick up to 1 visible friendly non-Sybarite infantry and 1 friendly visible non-hero Hedonites. Demon. Infantry. To be the targets, then make a casting roll. If you pick the Sybarite unit, subtract 1 from ward rolls for damage points inflicted by its combat attacks. If you picked a demon unit, it has ward 5. Wait, pick up to 1 visible friendly non-hero Sybarite infantry and up to 1 visible friendly non-hero Hedonite demon infantry. And no range, just wherever. Okay, the way this is written makes it sound like an either or, but it's not an either or. It's one or both, right? So the Sybarite unit that you picked up here subtracts 1 from ward rolls for enemies. And the demon one that you may or may not have picked up here gets ward 5. So it's like it's a 1, 2, or, 1 or 2, like power thing. And no range either. This is good, right? Like if you're actually mixing units, this is a good spell. Like both of these abilities are good. Subtract 1 from ward rolls. Yeah, it's a silver bullet, but it's a strong one. And a 5-up ward is great. Yeah, they probably have a 6-up ward already, and they might also have a 5-up ward from becoming Nurgle once they have enough temptation. They might have it already, but like both these abilities are good. I don't know exactly what non-hero hedonite demon infantry there are besides daemonettes. Are those horsey things that have like backwards normal people legs? Are those things, do they count as cavalry because they have 4 legs, or do they count as infantry? Do people use those at all? Maybe not. I guess this is a demon infantry. I'm staring at one right now. This is a demon infantry. Although, no, it's not. Sorry. I just checked its keywords. I was about to make a joke. And my joke I was about to make is, obviously this is a demon infantry, because I'm looking at it, and it's got demonic shit all over it. Its hands are crab claws, right? It's got horns. So clearly it's a demon, and I was about to joke I should check its keywords, because it's Age of Sigmar. So things that are like 100% obviously demons are often just not for no reason, and it turns out it doesn't have the demon keyword. It's actually not a joke. It's not a demon. Okay? Sorry, yeah, not a demon. No, the 9-foot-tall goat the 9-foot-tall goat demon-looking demon with crab claws is not a demon. I forgot. Anyway, Selesky is a wizard 1 as well. Non-demonic beastmen. Beastmen, by the way, not in this game apparently. Also seem kind of demonic, you know. Alright. Built-in 5-up ward instead of normal 6, a buff there for Selesky. Dude, her buff is cool. I don't know if you're doubling up on all these units and stuff, but she seems to be doing a lot of things. Spinning a lot of plates maybe, but if any damage points were allocated to an enemy wizard or priest by this unit's combat attacks this turn, stopped reading there. No thanks. Never mind. It's fine. The rest, everything else is cool. I don't need to do that. 365. 44312. Hey, they're ogres. Kinda. Charge +1 damage. Deployment phase, Veiled Threat. Set up this unit in reserve, waiting in ambush. And then they can arrive. Battlefield edge, more than 9. Always within 9 of a battlefield edge rather than 6. Kind of a bigger range there than normal. Once per phase, army, reaction, your opponent declared a command for a unit within 12 of it. Immediately after the command or the ability, it was a reaction 2 has been resolved. You can move 3. You can move through combat ranges of enemy units and can end the move in combat. Neat. Yeah, they have the Deepkin Deep Strike. I'm trying to think. I don't think you didn't have any Deep Strike or Ambush or anything in Slaanesh before. This is kind of like giving it to the Sons of Behemoth, where you didn't have anything like it before. And even if it's not quite that good, or it's easy to deploy out of or something like that, having them do that is a benefit to you anyway, and you might as well. It's apparently just free. You take 1 unit of this and they just do that. Potentially slightly annoying instinctive advance thing. If you manage to charge in, they do like 3 damage if you fail to save. I don't know. I'm not saying they're like great or anything, but it's an arrow in the quiver. 150. Because these are monstrous infantry, I'm assuming they come in 3s. I don't know if you would reinforce them exactly, but maybe you would. 12 attacks or whatever isn't like that much. Slangors are 120 now, so they're plus 30. They're like kind of sneaky rat ogre. These are like gorgers to me. Slangor Fiend Bloods. Because I'm an ogre player, I look at things through the ogre perspective, and I'm like, oh yeah, these are like gorgers, except they're more elite. Like there's fewer of them. Potentially high damage, but very random on bodies that evaporate if killed or if attacked. And it's just like some random ambush trick you can throw in an army that otherwise doesn't have one. It's just another stupid ass thing for your opponent to worry about. I kind of don't hate it. Maybe 150 is a bit much if you're trying to reinforce it. 300's a lot for a trick that might just do nothing, right? But that's my problem with gorgers too. I feel like they're too expensive for the risky nature of them. They seem better than the old sheet, but you're not a professional E9s player. Well, it seems like they have a job now. It's hard to compare them to the old sheet if they do something totally different, I think. Sneaky outflanker or something. I don't know, kind of interesting. Both of these. I don't play this army, but Zaleski has a lot of random weird buffs to hand out with no ranges and stuff. And really huge wholly within 18 kind of things. If you're in the keywords that she wants you to be in. And then this is a, hey, you have an ambush now. It's possible that's kind of good sometimes. Plus on Rend, if you're in Cyberite, it's kind of neat. I don't know about this thing. Non-hero Cyberite, bring it back to life maybe. Temptation stuff. Huh. Picked up the Night Hunt terrain over the weekend. Excited to get that built and painted. Nice, Penny Dude. Not knowing what this army does besides shoot stuff. And not hand out temptation dice, really. Seems like you gave them options of things to do. I'm going to give it a D+. Great work. Sunday preview. D+ is pretty good, by the way. Sunday preview. Change comes to the mortal realms and the Bray herds. Raid the old world. So C- with curve? Maybe. Maybe, yeah. They might bump up. But I'd have to talk to a Slaanesh player. The new edition of Warhammer, the Horus Heresy, has finally been revealed. I don't care. In Warhammer, the Old World, the Beastmen, I don't care. General's Handbook, AoS, let's go. Okay, we got Short King, absolutely styling on the big S for Sigmar. Who's dude. We got a checkerboard pattern for setup here. Look at all these circles and tokens. Pennies, places of power. Look at all this stuff. We're putting things on the battlefield, boys. With a rule, it looks like a custom rule or something for the battle plan. You love to see it. On the battle plans is where I always thought they should put take the bracket of battle tactics and then take out the good stuff and then put those rules on the battle plans is where I always thought they ought to go. In general. And we got these big betting discs here. New season of S-Laughter and Warfare in the Mortal Realms is at hand with the impending release of the General's Handbook 2526. New GUI Day for match play in Warhammer Age of Sigmar, both competitive casual. Not really. mostly competitive, which implements a suite of rules changes, a new take on battle tactics, and season rules that have a distinctly Gyranic feel. Do I need to censor that? More than just a book this time. The Journal's Handbook is a box. It's a box containing a 72-page book, a set of 6 double-sided battle tactic cards, a set of 6 double-sided battle plan cards, a rules ref, 13 double-sides, universal manifesties, war scrollies, cardsies. Also includes a set of 6 objective markers, 2 oaken bro, 2 gnarl hoot, and 1 winterleaf and 1 heartwood. Oh, each with non-slip backing. Mousepad material, I think. And then spearhead, sand, and bone. Don't care. Bunch of stuff. Look at this dude. An auspicious astral confluence spearhead. Fusil platoon. We got the hunting boys. Look at the mustachioed man on top of the Ogre. Mortesian elite. Stuff. Oh, the scrap glut. Alright, spearhead. Oh, Noblars. Disgusting. Noblars, absolutely disgusting. And a scrap launcher, but you will be making an iron blaster for sure. Hey, look, it's Hrothgorn, some guy man trapper. They decided to put him in there. I guess 1 frost saber, iron guts. Get them while they're still for sale. All this stuff. Very reminiscent of the Christmas box a few years ago. Blubber and Bone, or whatever that one was, versus OBR. But it doesn't have a tyrant in it, has this guy instead, some other stuff. I would hold off, because it's quite, and I guess it depends on your time frame really, but massive hopium. I think we're getting a range refresh. Sometime within the next 6 years. I don't know how your time frame is. And then old world stuff, don't care. Jeez, remember this? Dude, cock meta? That shit was sick. These 6 mortals on a 4-up. That was hilarious. The good old days. Yoosh. Middle Earth stuff, don't care. Big dies, don't care. I think that's it. I think that's all. Other games getting stuff, always nice to see. Not nice enough to actually read, but nice to see. Am I going to Brew City Brawl in early July? So they brought back the 3,000 point event. You're considering it? Oh, the 3,000 point event? I am kind of considering it. I should look into that. Because Milwaukee is close enough to me, and I like the 3,000 point events. I always liked them more. Mostly because the armies are bigger and you have more stuff. And that's great. And they don't really take that much longer than normal games. Turns out, Age of Sigmar, you just fucking kill each other. And it doesn't really matter if it's 2,000 or 3,000 points. You just fucking kill each other about the same amount of time. You just get to play a little bit after a double turn. So I am considering it, yeah. I'm just bad with dates and times. And numbers and names. Yeah, they revealed new Idneth Deepkin stuff. Here we go. One final news, you are correct. The Idoneth Deepokin break the waves with new icons of the sea and storm. The French. What could be better than a stroll on the shores of Akshi? Warm volcanic sand beneath your feet. Hey, speaking of, one of the volcanoes in Hawaii has been erupting past few days. Lightly erupting. I mean, it's spewing magma a few feet in the air. It does that from time to time. But you can watch a live feed of it. Anyway, this is also a news show, I guess. And the gentle light of Hish on your face. A nice little break by the sea is just what we all need just before the new General's Handbook drops. And the fighting resumes, sadly. The beaches of the mortal realms aren't the safest of places for a holiday. Innumerable unseen horrors lurk in the briny depths. And what's that we've caught with our patented soul bait? Why, it's an extremely perturbed Akellion. Do not like this guy. I think he's ugly. The fish are fucking hilarious. Look at their faces. The eel and the fish are great. I don't really like the guy. But opinions may vary. First to rise from the waves is the new icon of the sea. These are Akellions, elves of the warrior caste, whose souls are fully formed. They appear at first glance to be beings of placid contemplation who channel the fathomless wisdom of the ocean. But when they join battle, they move as if carried by the surging sea, launching themselves in a friendly unit into combat faster than you can yell, "Surf's up, dude." Alright. Tidal Glaive, apparently you can attack with it. The Surging Sea, once per turn army or charging phase. Pick this unit up to one friendly unit within its combat range, very close. Rest of the turn, add 1 to the number of dice rolled to making charges up to max 3. Great. Alright, yeah. 3d6 charges. You love to see it. Good ability. Have to be really close, but good ability. Armed with the Tidal Glaive, which hits harder on the charge. It does. You've all the incentive you need to get stuck in as fast as possible. Make much easier by the icon's Master of the Aether Sea, enabling them to run and charge at will. Can you still ambush 2 units with your... It's not Tidecaller, that's the caster one. You had a Deep Striker guy that could bring 2 units along, so you could bring, like, something plus this guy, and then you could 3d6 charge outside of 9 and, like, most likely succeeded. Yeah, Soul Scryer gives you the option of doing that. It used to be you got +3 to charge anyway back in the day, and so you could just charge with anything, and that was a kind of a combo. Now, instead of giving +3 to the roll, I believe it's like you can set up 7 away or something. Their counterpart is the Icon of the Storm. Okay, so these are miniature wave chads. I was wondering about that Icon of the Sea thing, and so it's Eidolon of the Sea, Eidolon of the Storm, Icon of the Sea, Icon of the Storm. Icon of the Sea is good. Icon of the Storm is a solitary being who eschews composure. He eschews composure, all right? Just disheveled and loud all the time. Fully giving over to the elemental wildness of the depths. A flurry of blows from their Maelstrom Blades summons the Whirlpool's fury into the Aether Sea, preventing opponents from retreating and allowing allies to ride these rippling eddies in and out of combat at will. Enemy units cannot use retreat while they are in combat with this unit. Well, they won't have to, that would just kill him. Friendly units who use a retreat ability while they're wholly within 12 of this can still shoot and or charge later in the turn. I don't know. I don't know about this guy. I like the Storm. What was the Sea's ability? You got buffered during... Oh, okay. 3d6 charge to target unit. You have to be within his combat range, but then you get to make a 3d6 charge. That's good. This guy stops other people from retreating, which is good on some like giant anvil Nurgle thing that kills people slowly or whatever, but not really great here. And you can use retreat on your friends so that they can shoot and or charge in the same turn, which again is like good on other stuff. I don't rate this guy very highly. It's possible you could find a combo with him, but the Sea seems to be the winner here. These new Akellion heroes herald the imminent arrival of the Battletome Iden Deepkin, which is why when we are looking over the GHB thing for Ideneth, it's like, well, it's hard to say really because they're just about to get a new book, which is going to change a lot of stuff. And then furthermore, all these changes in the GHB, I should probably say this more often, but I don't. All of these changes that we're seeing, or rather bonus updates in the GHB, We don't exactly know how a lot of it will land, since battle plans are changing, and probably a lot. It seems like they're mixing things up with this GHB, so we'll see where the dust settles. Unbelievably ugly cover. What a terrible cover. Once again, I don't really blame the artists themselves. The notes that they got were choose the stupidest looking single foot guy, make him front and center. And so they were just doing what they're told. And you have to make it look like the model, and the model looks dumb. You know, their hands are tied. It's rendered perfectly fine. Maybe he has a weird expression on his face, but the fucking dude has a weird expression on his face as well. Anyway, terrible cover. Who's the person making the decisions about what the artists should draw on the covers? I disagree with their reasoning. The ebb and flow of the oceans also has affected the Ether Sea. Their battle traits have been suitably overhauled. Tides of Death are out. It doesn't sound like an overhaul. Sounds like a chopping block. Too macabre by far for a season of war in Gairan. And the Tides of the Sea and the Tides of the Storm are in. Rather than being locked into one set of progressing abilities, I mean, you always could take a Tidecaster to switch the tides, so actually it was 2. But hey, alright. You'll have 2 discrete tracks to follow, though swapping mid-battle or reset your progress. And this leads you adrift. We'll be taking a deep dive closer to release. Okay. I feel like they felt that they painted themselves into a corner with the Tides of Death. Turn 3, entire army strikes first. Or if you flip the tides, turn 2, entire army strikes first. Probably felt like they painted themselves into a corner for a lot of the army rules. They just couldn't find a way to make the army escape from that. It's such an opportunity for it being too good, such an opportunity for it playing the same all the time, such an opportunity for the opponents to hate that. And so they just had to get rid of it, which to me is sad because I really liked the Tides of Death. I thought they were one of the more interesting, one of the most interesting, flavorful ideas to game mechanics in the whole game. I didn't play the army. I almost did, but there are a lot of problems with Tides of Death, and they felt like they just had to get rid of it, I think. Can we go back to the art? It has big AI vibes. I don't think so. No. I can tell by the pixels. I know why you would say that, though. I understand why you would say that. Yeah, unfortunately, it's real. And a lot of it is like how the subject matter is so bad. Like, we'll choose the worst unit, put him right in the center, give him an awkward pose. Like, all of the prompts, if you will, were so bad that you might think it's AI in that respect, like the decision-making process, because one of the worst parts about AI art is the total lack of creativity the person typing the prompt has. The total lack of artistic understanding the person just typing a sentence for AI to make something out of has, and you can even see it in the final product, right? But no, it's just not a great cover. That's it. Anyway, I'm terrified, but also I haven't thought that IDK looked very fun to play for a while. So maybe this is the shakeup they need. I'm not sure. I really liked Tides of Death. It's sort of one of the last remnants of really cool rules I could have talked about. Now gone. Big, massive, splashy effect. Overpowered in a vacuum. Thinking about it, you know. This is one of the last Marvel vs. Capcom ass rules in all of Age of Sigmar, is the Tides of Death. your whole army fights first turn 3. And I'm sad to see it go. The end of an era. You just want to run something other than eels, please God. That's the fun part. You probably not. Maybe, look, this is their Gordian knot. They couldn't figure it out, so they cut Tides of Death in twain. And half of the rope remnants are the Tides of the Storm, and half of them are Tides of the Sea. And maybe in so doing, you can finally not have to play eels. Maybe Thralls will be good finally. Who knows? We've got that sinking feeling. I do too, brother. I do too. Like, there's more to dredge up from the abyssal depths of the mortal realms, but we're off for some fish and chips. Keep a weather eye on Warhammer Community for more reveals beneath the waves. Yep. Hey, all right. Damn, what a big news day. We had 2 hours of news. Big news. We had a disappointing Ogre reveal, but not totally, not 100% disappointing, just about as disappointing as I was expecting. Got a confusing Slaanesh update, a decent Lumineth one, of course, some Dark Oath shit that I don't care about, but one of the abilities was kind of neat if you're trying to play Dark Oath actually in the same way as FEC. And then some stuff we talked about before, like if you're a child and you love big dinos, what if you just got to play the big dinos and they were actually good? Seraphon update was pretty nice for those people. Seraphon update, yeah, somebody asked like what were one of the good, I thought the Seraphon update was one of the good ones. As was Fireslayers, although they were like very laser targeted into one specific thing, you know, not the whole army, but that most of these aren't the whole army. Most of these are pretty targeted. And look, the tail almost just becomes the wing, right? Right next to it. Nice. It's like a beautiful corpse painting between this fold and that fold. Well done. Foot Lady and Dock Rules was actually good too. Yeah, the Crow Woman. This update gave you access to an ambush, which is kind of nice. Even if the ambush doesn't really accomplish anything, even the opponent zoning you out can be good. Like if they're an army that has to deploy really specifically in a castle, and then they decide to zone you out instead, that could actually be worth it before the game starts, even though the Mega Gargant is perhaps subpar on War Scroll once he arrives. But regardless. Yeah, it's a playstyle enabler, which is why I don't say the Slaves one is bad. Because you're supposed to enable playstyles. How the fuck are you going to actually enable the playstyle of Dark Oath so that it truly competes with Varangard? You would have to make them so good that it would be downright problematic. And so you can't fight them on that axis. You can't make them like equivalently strong to Varangard. That would be stupid. You would just like create another 60% win rate army out of nowhere, right? What you have to do is at least make the playstyle like work. At least have it work and be fun on the table. So that you don't feel stupid for playing it, right? You shouldn't try to compete power-wise with Varangard, right? It's sort of a fool's errand. Because maybe they're problematic, or, you know, in any case. Friday Hype tier list. Are we closing in on the final ones? I think we are. What's even left? Let's see. I could use the awful GW website. And look at the armies. All right. How do I look at the armies for Age of Sigmar? Where do I click? I'm on the Age of Sigmar section, right? So where do I click? Keep in mind, I'm already on the Age of Sigmar section. Should I click Age of Sigmar again? Right here? Even though I'm already there? Yes. Okay. So I'm already in Warhammer.com/Age of Sigmar, but I click up here next to 40K and Horus Heresy, and then this pops up. And then we'll shop by Alliance. Okay. And then it opens up another thing. Cities we've done, Daughters we've done, KO. Yeah, we know it's dumb. I just like complaining about how shitty this website is. It's so bad. Sylvaneth. Have we not done Soulblight? I feel like we have, but it was actually just a fake update. Yeah, so we're on Soulblight Sylv. Nurgle. Nurgle's the last one from Chaos. And then we've got all of Destruction. Destruction only has 4 technically. Three left. Yeah, the website's even worse than you thought. Which means, let's see, this Friday, we're going to do the whole tier list of all of the GHB updates and say which ones are looking the most hype or fun. Do note that the hype tier lists are not power level tier lists. Intrinsically, they include that because that matters. If your guys can't do anything, then that's not fun, right? They can't do anything. But yeah, so it'll be a hype tier list, how fun everything looks. We'll do the grading. And it'll kind of couch all of it. Wrap it all up, you know? Should be nice. Yeah, it's a mark on the Rubo-Rick, yeah. Haven't done Soulblight, Sylvaneth, Nurgle. Those are the last 3, as far as I recall. Yeah, you can't wait for the Beast of Chaos one, or the Bone Splitters one. Yeah, true. People complaining about the bad website drives engagement. I can't believe that that is actually something that could happen. It's funny, but let's make our website bad on purpose so it becomes famously bad and more people click on it. I don't know. A little too tinfoil. We taught him incorrectly on purpose as a joke. Shouldn't wait for the GHB to do the tier list. I'm doing a tier list of the reveals for them and how hyped they are. Once the GHB comes out, I'll be like playing the game and stuff. No time for tier lists. We talk about how disrespectful the one lore blurb was, Lumineth featuring a BOC was. Well, I mean, I'm going to be honest. During those like lore things, I get up and I go get a drink, do some flies, you know, jog in place for a while, get the heart rate up, sit back down. Isn't the website bad? It sure is. Anyway, I dropped $450 on an army I'll never paint. Hey, well, Jog, good one. Hey, if the zombies show up and I just shot a zombie with my shotgun and it had loot, I got an ARPG, I got to loot it. I might be excited to get the loot. I might jog over. You know, we'll see. Anyway, hey, all right. What are we going to do for the last few minutes? You could kill Simon on New Game Plus with cool music. You could go for that walk we talked about. In any case, eat shit, watch a commercial. Thanks for watching.
Mr. Owl, how many licks does it
Yo,
take
hey,
to-
excuse me, we saw that one already. Give me the Klondike.
With Klondike ice cream bars, you get big servings, big taste, big cream.
Imagine
5 big, moist, delicious ounces of big, hot ice cream. And a coating made with beautiful
milk,
chocolate so you can
pour
big cream.
like I've never had it.
Klondike, big bar, big cream.
Big bear, big creme. Shotguns are bad for fighting zombies. You might get hit with infectious blood splatter. Oh, true. True. I gotta think of something better. It's just, I'm from Wisconsin, so they gave me a shotgun at birth, right? And a bow and arrow, but I don't think a bow and arrow would be very good against zombies. It'd be much worse, I think. Plus, mine's a recurve. It's not even a compound. The arrow would just go right through it, and then it'd probably keep showing up. It'd just keep coming, right? Although, I guess I don't know. Yeah, maybe use a slug, I suppose. I mean, that could be decent. Yeah, what is the next game? What is the next game I play? You know, I'm in the mood for something absolutely fucking amazing out of nowhere that I'm not prepared for how good it is. You know what I mean? Much like Expedition 33. But I feel like you can't get there every time. So, I don't know, what should be next? I could get Dude the Dank Ages, but I don't know, I'm hesitant on it. It doesn't look worth the full asking price. You're asking for another game of the year? Yeah, maybe we can lower our standards, right? Look, lowering my standards is something I'm very used to, as I'm sure many of you are as well. Am I right, gamers? So, you know, it doesn't have to be something so great. It can actually be like a shit game as long as it's fun and I have the opportunity to pause for a while and talk to chat about stuff, right? RPG golf? I don't like golf. But then again, it's I don't know, it's kind of an RPG, right? So maybe the mechanics are fun. Doom Guy Eternal is just a better game, sadly. Yeah, and Doom 2016 is a better game than that in turn. Is Doom going through giant stages? Like a first one that's positively amazing, a second one that adds more but is kind of maybe a little worse, and then the third one that's just totally different and not in a great way. Have we done that twice now? Kinda. Yeah, why not just do Expedition 34? Dude, no, Expedition 60. Expedition 60, Giga Chad. The three most noteworthy expeditions. 00 were Chads. 60, fucking hilarious. And obviously 33. Yeah, the shirtless muscle guys. Who just went through the barrier. They just fucking flexed through the barrier. Found out everything. And the one dude almost made it back. Swimming across the ocean naked, and the only reason he didn't make it is because his gamage timed out. So he ran out of time. He would have made it on endurance. What a fucking Chad. 60 is so funny. What a fun little Easter egg you can find. Yeah, Louis Armstrong dudes. One Punch Men. Yeah, maybe Disco Elysium. I should finally pick that game up. It's been in my maybe pile forever. And it's, you know, supposedly has good writing and stuff. It's everything I like, right? On some Baki shit. Yeah, yeah. So anyway, this is the party for New Game Plus, which has been a Minoko solo run with the other two people just blowing up, right? He is weird and combo-y in a funny way. And his combo like builds up slowly and it involves stunning and stuff, and he's kind of immortal, but not really. He's sick. Game sound is off? No, it's just really quiet. I just have it down a lot, that's all. And you have to actually make a lot of decisions and stuff while you're playing it. He's not just like, summon Mael, do Steinholtz and blow everything up. Or Stenhold or whatever. I still like Lune a lot. And I tried Verso for a while, but it just didn't click with me. He's very powerful as well. But I'm doing the mono KO. Did you give Drova? What's Drova, Branimate? Did I say I was going to look into that or not? Or did I look into it and then forget? You start in a random position, we got to apply mark, and then switch, and then use the mortar because that changes it to Almighty Mask, and we have to be in Almighty Mask so that the one thing does bonus damage. While charging Gradient, because I'm actually leaning into Gradient attacks with this stuff too. And so reapply mark, if I can. Failed to apply mark, so we'll just Lamp Master it. And he should be stunned. Alright, we've applied mark. So now we mortar to move back to Almighty Mask. As long as I use an enhanced skill every time, I do bonus damage up to 5 stacks. Lampmaster Light increases damage at each cast of it, and it never stops scaling. Like, it scales forever. And it's the same thing with his Gradient thing as well. Breakpoint. Get lamped. Mono Soloco. Alright, reapply mark, maybe? The damage. More maxed Gradient, so I can mortar. Now we're in Almighty stance, which means we can Gradient to stun him again. Breakpoint. Bong. Heals all my shields. My turn again. We're in Almighty Mask. Get rid of his shields here. Hit him with another Lampmaster Light, which stacks every time you cast it. Badoosh. Mark him up. I might be able to stack up to 3 Gradients here to finish him off, maybe. Or I could just switch back, but it's going to be his turn next. I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah, I'm gonna have to... He's gonna get a single turn here. Sadly. Unless I can get a mark out of this. And even then... Yep, looks like he's going to get one turn. And we'll auto-die here. And we'll send in the reserve team. And Lumineth, my lady. Hit him with the Grady. Skybreaker. Badoosh. Game for babies. Can't believe they let adults play this game. So anyway, that's what the fight looks like if you're not trying to parry everything and you're just trying to, like, one-shot him, right? Which is way less satisfying, but it's fun to solve the puzzle, right? So yeah, New Game Plus. Simply kill him before he can act. Why bother learning all the parries, you know? Which I could have done last time as well, but I wanted to learn the parries and do it the right way and have him get a bunch of turns and not take any damage and stuff like that, which was its own style of fun. But this time I wanted to come up with a fucking combo, and I did with Mr. Minoko here. He's got a weapon, 30% increased damage per upgraded skill used, and it resets on using a non-upgraded skill. We only use upgraded skills over and over in a row, and this does not have a max. There's no cap. So if you just keep using upgraded skills over and over, you just get stacking damage forever, which is huge. And gradients don't count as a non-upgraded skill, as I learned. And his one of his gradients, rather, Lampmaster's Light, also increases damage every time you cast it, which doesn't have a cap either. So if he had like 1 billion hit points, he would get 1 turn out of every like 8 of my turns. And pretty soon Lampmaster's Light, because of its own stacking and my weapon stacking, would be getting into the hundreds of millions, the 200s of millions, etc. And he'd get 1 turn out of every, I don't know, like 8 or 9 turns of mine. And that's the Infinite Minoko super scalar and funny ability thing. And, you know, Lumineth, because last time she had to let Mael finish him off after she got killed to his mechanic, and so, you know, we let her, my lady, get the last hit. Anyway, thanks for watching. Not exactly a 6-hour thing, right? But the first run through was the learn all of his patterns and parry everything without ever dodging, and this one was come up with a combo and fucking blast him, which is its own type of fun. Both types of gaming, right? Each game type. Oh, OP, please nerg. Please nerg. Please nerf. Mono solo. I like how every character in this game is totally overpowered. Like, people say that Minoko is weak, Lumineth is weak, you know, CL, you know, so on and so forth. Like, everybody's like, oh, Mael is so OP and Verso is so OP. And they're right. These two are walking gods in the canvas, right? They're like actual demigods. And they do stand out above the other three. But the other three are so broken also. Like, everyone's crazy OP, which is fun. Some would say that if everyone is overpowered, then no one is. But I say, if everyone's overpowered in their own interesting ways, then that's fun. I never did anything with Seal, didn't care. But Lumineth fun, Minoko fun. Mael, you pressed the single button and one-shot everything, and then Verso I did a machine gun build with, was kind of fun for himself. Marvel's Capcom, essentially. People just can't theory craft. The theory crafting in this game was actually quite fun and rewarding. I rather liked it. You could choose to get good, or you could choose to theory craft, or you could do both. Main criticisms of this game, I'm struggling to find many. It's like a 9 out of 10 in most categories. And this overworld, like open world travel thing is so much cooler than it could have been as well. I would say that the game is for sure too easy. But maybe that's good for like casual audiences or something, I'm not sure. But I kind of went, so like Simon was very challenging in a very fun way to parry all his stuff, and he had a bunch of health and stuff. I kind of wish everything on New Game Plus, like all the bosses on New Game Plus were like normal Simon difficulty, and then Simon New Game Plus was like insanely hard, like impossible. You couldn't even cheese it. You had to like cheese it and get good. That would be cool, I guess. That's a pretty minor complaint. Dude, SQE. He's the flying rotisserie chicken man. He's filled with rocks and wine. All of his stones and his wine. He's a big rock. Oh, and I went and watched Mael's ending, and we were correct. We were correct about what to choose. I really like the ending. So sinister. For the bad end, you know? It's so painful. Yeah, yeah. But that's what it should be. Like, it was so good that they did it that way. Sinister. You enjoyed the split ending? Of course, it's a role-playing game. I don't know if you watched the stream, but when I beat the game, there's a certain point where it gives you a choice. It's like, choose this side or that side. And I'm like, oh my god, the game remembered that it's an RPG. It remembered it's a role-playing game. It gave me a choice. Which side do you side with, right? It recalled that you should give the players a choice. How wonderful, you know? Really good. The thing that sets this game apart from Baldur's Gate, which is hard to compare them because they are very different games, is that, like so many giant RPGs, they just kind of stub their toe and drop their chicken nuggies and their lunch tray on the ground at the very end. Like, the ending is just like, well, hey, alright, here's the credits. Like, they fumble at the very end. And Baldur's Gate 3 certainly did that. The ending was a fumble on that one. And this one, the ending was like the crescendo at the end of a great piece, right? And so many big RPGs just fall flat on the end. You know, Mass Effect 3, all this stuff. Anyway, don't really want to compare the two games because they are very, very different. BG3 and Expedition. BG3 is a massive, it's a massive playground. They want you to build as many sand castles as you fucking want. Do anything you want, and we've somehow thought of you trying to do that and wrote lines of dialogue and recorded lines of dialogue and wrote game mechanics, and you could just like try fucking anything and do whatever in this giant sand castle. And that takes a lot of work to make reasonable. And so BG3 is that type of game. This type of game is more like, you're going to watch a really good movie, and you do have some choices, but you're kind of along for the ride, and it's just a different type of game. Translocate arrow over the castle wall after stacking 10k boxes, siding with the bad guy early, and then just being a bad guy, you know? Killing off these characters, siding with these other ones, putting a corpse in a box and turning a corpse into a box, and then for some reason that warps you to a certain place in act whatever. Giga jumping places, all sorts of stuff. And that makes perfect sense because that's what it was trying to do. It's D&D, and that's what D&D is. And this isn't trying to be D&D. It's trying to be Final Fantasy, Paper Mario, Elden Ring, a little bit of Nier. A little bit of Lost Odyssey, maybe. A little bit of Final Fantasy X. Just like a greatest hits of JRPGs through the lens of France. Except with a good story. Written well. Adult writing. I don't mean adult like sexual. I mean adult as in mature writing. Which is generally not an option. Normally. Very surprising in a good way. Like, this person has a good point, this other person has a good point too. The most emotional and compassionate thing you could do is actually the most destructive. Which is something that you often see in real life. And ends up being, ironically, more hurtful. Thought maybe there'd be a thing over there. And good perspectives all around. Yeah, I see why they would think that. I see why they would feel that. One of my biggest pet peeves, and I bet this is a lot of people's giant pet peeves, is when characters make decisions that don't make any sense in the context of what they're doing and what they've been built up to do. And who they've built up to be. You know, the classic moment where you're like, but why? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Like, it's such a frustrating thing to... And it's so common. It happens all the time. Hey, you're clearly in a horror movie. Why are you going into the basement? And a good writer will write in some reason for them not to be able to. But a poor one would just be like, 'cause it's a movie. Yeah, the plot demands that I make this decision, otherwise the plot would stop happening. And that's truly like the only reason I could think of as to why you would. Because we have to fight. I don't recall anything about Infamous 2, but I recall having the feeling that that was the case. I don't know if that helps your case or not, but... The last season of Game of Thrones is that every few seconds? Yeah. I would say more than just the last season, but yes, yeah. There's a horrible monster out there. Let's all split up and explore with our flashlights. Yeah. Hey, we're on an alien planet. And by alien, I mean xenomorph. Let's take off our helmets instantly without checking the air. And then let's just start playing with a fucking alien snake for no reason. We're scientists, by the way. The plot has to happen. I'm not sure which way is the wrong way. I want to go the wrong way first. But I guess it doesn't matter. I've collected everything. I think I probably have all the achievements. It's mind-boggling how much bad writing could be avoided with 5 seconds of thinking. Yeah, I mean, it's not too easy, right? Not to hand-wave all of it. It's tricky to write a script that very naturally and low-key needs the dough. Like, it needs in all of those little reasons why everything would work the way it does without making all of your characters idiots. And plot holes and the like. You know, it's harder than you would think. But it's not as hard as the media we consume seemingly makes it out to be. Like, it's so rare for people to get it right. It's not that hard. That almost no one can seem to do it. Just when you write things via committee, this is what happens, I guess. Dong. Get donged. Dongzo, the big bell. Warhammer 40k is 12-year-old writers in a trench coat and half of them hate the other half. That can be fine. To me, a lot of criticism is, what were they trying to do and did they accomplish it? You know? The writing doesn't have to be good, necessarily. I mean, sort of it does, I guess. But what I mean is it doesn't have to be really heady, really intellectual feeling or any of that. It can be really simple. And dumb, but in like a fun way. Sometimes you're not trying to make literature, you're trying to make a popcorn comic book for a certain target audience, and that's fine. Know your audience is the first rule, after all. Dude, Expedition 60, the fucking Chads. You saw some of the English VA stuff. Andy Serkis is great as Renoir. Andy Serkis does good work. I really like the French voices, but it sounds like they got high quality English as well. I'm told, or from what little I looked into it. They did not skimp on the English VA stuff. I'll take that for the second time. I think all these rooms are blocked off, right? Yeah. If I IRC correctly. It's when they keep contradicting existing rules that they made. Yeah. If you're going to, I mean, you have to create rules for any world you create. And I don't mean gameplay rules, I mean on writing, right? Like you write, if you're writing anything, then the world you're writing about has certain rules. Don't break those rules. Like, you have to abide by the rules that you make, otherwise the audience is going to be like, what the fuck? You said that this was this or whatever, like, that was your rule, and now it's just, who cares? Okay. You have to at least follow your own rules for your own world. The numbers are too big for the screen. Nice. Okay. Thanks you. That over there seems like the next place to go, so I'm gonna go here first. Oh, you meant to use this when I had my crown? What is this? Budget for gore? Oh, Kir's crown. Nice. And V2Bs. I don't think I've ever watched Kirsch. I know she's in Phase Connect, the same one with Pipkin Pipla, whom I like, but I don't watch a lot. A lot of the VTubers I used to watch, I don't watch them too much anymore, but I quietly support them. I'm like, keep getting your bag. I'm glad you're successful and now you're getting paid. You know, I'm happy for you. One of those kind of things. But yeah, Phase Connect has Pippa, whomst I like, and Tenma, whom I like. I don't really know any of the other people in there, but I think Kirsch is part of it. I think. Kind of a Smug-Alana style streamer-ish. Yeah, not getting treated like shit by their agency. Phase Connect seems pretty on the up and up as far as companies that support their streamers. Phase Connect seems pretty good. Oh, didn't the acerbic monotone fish princess girl join Phase Connect? What's her name? Mari _. It was either that or Mythic Talent, maybe both. I think Mari just joined Phase Connect. I'm not 100%. I know she was part of Mythic. Which, and I don't mean to shit on Phase Connect, but if you get a Mythic partnership, you might be a little bigger than Phase Connect. Just a touch, maybe. I don't mean to cast aspersions.
Super.
But you can double up, it's fine. Gura retired and is going back under her old avatar. Oh, Senzawa. As long as she's happy. I know she's struggled with a lot of mental stuff. I don't think she drinks anymore, which is good for her, you know. But I think she was just too huge and she couldn't mentally deal with it, which is a rough one. I don't know. I fondly recall her back in the meme days. And so I was just happy she was getting paid, you know. And I hope she's happier now and has a suitable retirement bag. Never really watched Gura. I'm not like a big corpo viewer guy. But I was like quietly, hey, good for you, kind of. I remember you from the old days. Well, the middle old days, but you know, what are you going to do? Mythic Talent Agency is the kind of thing you can be in a talent agency and also be in a VTuber management group. You can be both. A lot are. When you get a suitable amount of big, you can be in both. So they don't preclude each other. It's possible she is in both. She being who we were talking about before, I think Mari. Maybe Kirsch. Fight the merchant. Oh, let's fight Lumineth. I've been on solo Minoko for too long.
dernière heure est arrivée.
Oh, 33 full strength? Sure. It's not like the best Pictos, just because there's a lot of bonuses you can get for being on low health or under 50. And there's more bonuses for low health or under 50 than there are for full health. But it's still like decently worth picking up if you have like a new game plus level of Lumina, like 600 or 700, because then you just kind of end up almost getting everything. Like after a self revive, if you randomly die, you'll be at full life, so you can get full strength off of that or whatever. That being said, it takes a lot more juice to make Minoko infinite scalar Chad than it does basically any other character. So maybe in that respect, I'll admit that he is perhaps the weakest. Just maybe the way to decide is how much juice it requires to make you a god. Mayal being the least amount, and also she can do her giga damage turn 1 instead of turn 2, which is the main difference there. Everybody else has to kind of juice up to it. Lune has to get all 4 of her stains first. Minoko has to swap to Enlighten Mask and kind of build up gradients and build up this and that. Seal has to get her magic cards all in order, stuff like that. Dude has to get to S rank. Now you can use a sword that starts you in S rank, and you can use a weapon that starts you in Almighty, but it's like not optimal. It is actually optimal for Mayal to start in her Giga stance and just like cast the one spell and blast. So maybe they'll just die. I don't have to gear up to it. No, all right, should have geared up to it. This Expedition 33 has respect for your time. That's the funny. I love that meme. I don't think it's always a stupid comment, to be clear. I make fun of the... It's become a meme between me and the mods and other people, like this game doesn't respect my time. You know, because it's so, on the face of it, it's such a dumb comment. Because you're playing a video game, which is a waste of time. And then you're complaining that the game doesn't respect your time, right? But it's not always a dumb comment, obviously. It's just if you can take it that way on purpose, like I just did, to make it sound more ridiculous than it should be. And also it's like ARPG players that were saying it, which makes it funnier. But there is a perfectly legitimate way to issue that complaint and not hopefully sound too dumb, right? Like, I wanted to explain the whole thing, where it's like, I think a game not respecting your time is an overused complaint that often is like a self-defeater or a self-exposer, maybe. But it's not always an illegitimate one. Like, for instance, here, I'll come up with a very legitimate respect your time thing, right? Like, I want a hard mode in a game. And so what they do is they triple all enemy HP. Well, that's terrible. Like, that's an awful way to make a game more difficult. Because it just means you spend 3 times as long fighting everything. It's not really even harder, it just wastes your time. In that respect, the game not respecting your time is a legit complaint. No. But an ARPG player saying, you know, ooh, if there's one rare monster left, I have to run for another, and I timed it 9 seconds to get to the other part of the map. This game doesn't respect my time. Bro, chill. Chill. Mark? We get a mark? No? Okay. No marks. I have one more chance. No mark. If they made a Pictos for 100 points that let you auto mark instead of 20% mark, I would take it. Guaranteed. Each time, every time. I don't care what it costs. 200. Bosses have additional mechanics, sure. You know. Enemies do more damage to you, sure. AI is smarter, sure. They have more like resistances or immunities or whatever. In certain games, increasing the HP of the bosses in addition to other stuff is legit. Like for instance in this game. Like, if you wanted to increase the difficulty in this game, you would definitely have to increase the boss health. Because look, I just killed Simon, he didn't get to attack me, right? If you increased his health by 500%, I would have to start interacting with his mechanics, maybe, right? And so in that way, it's not necessarily wasting my time, it's forcing me to interact with the mechanics I would otherwise be skipping. And so even then, there's an exception, you know. But it should be part of a package in any case. DS2 New Game Pluses on our eye look really good compared to DS and DS3. A good hard mode DS2 where you have additional spawns and enemy types that change encounters, yeah. Alright, this guy has a bunch of phases. Get into Almighty Stance real quick. My man still has a mark, but I'm going to get greedy and try to reapply it. Build up the Gradient Charge. Lampmaster's Light number 1. Infinite Scalar. Badoosh. Already marked even. Fine. Alright, back to Almighty. Phase 1 complete.
Cette folie doit cesser. Il est temps de rentrer à la maison.
Alright, skip Yo turn on. We're in Almighty and we're Gradient, so we'll give him the big dong, which should fill up his stun bar and restun him. So we make sure he never gets a turn. Bong. 15 mil, dead in one hit, but technically stunned also. I guess I could skip my turns here, but I'll farm up some more Gradient Charge in the meantime. So I'll be ready to gong him next turn. And I get 3 turns in a row even though technically he's dead. I'm just going to skip my turns here. Alright, we summon the canvas. With how much you discuss game design, have you ever wanted to make a game? Yeah. Or just enjoy discussing it? Yeah. I'm concerned though because a lot of people think that they would be really good at designing a game, simply because they've played games for a long time and have themselves opinions about them. And that's not necessarily true, right? Oh wait, is he attacking? Does he get an attack here? Am I about to parry? Oh no, Mael is coming in out of nowhere. Anyway, yeah, I've always wanted to make a game. Probably every gamer wants to. Yeah, I like discussing it. I'm just guessing I probably wouldn't be good at it because usually people who think they would be good at it just because they've played it a lot, right? They're usually wrong. It's like, I've been watching movies my whole life. I'd be a great director of photography. Like, no. Damn, I've read books my whole life. I'd be a great writer. You know, I've watched basketball my whole life. I could D up Shaq, whatever. So anyway, I have that pushing against me. Oh wait, I almost forgot. He's just like not suited up to fight at all. He's suited up to explode. I don't even have a build for him. Speedo. Just 3 fastest, most speed you can get, so I can go before my lady. Here. Do I have at least the bare minimum, which is cheater, energy master, energizing turn, second chance, blah blah. And get rid of some of the, like, when I die something. When I die, double burn doesn't matter. When I die something, first strike is necessary. Shielding death, don't need it. Okay, got rid of all of his, like, when you die, do something, and then I'll just take random shit. Auto power fault, or wait. Try to get those for fighting alone. Might not be able to take combo attacks 3. Energizing turn. I can't remember what all exactly I got on him. I mean, this all probably should be fine. I can just shoot, right, and just parry. I don't know her moves at all. Because last time I blew her up right away. So, we'll see. Might actually have to try more than once. First it tries to explain it's time to let go and instantly explodes in front of Baal. Yeah. I almost did that twice. Fight Esver, so we choose the obviously correct choice. It's sad, but it's not humongously sad and kind of monstrous, which is the other choice. Alright, this will be a long fight. I haven't prepared him at all. Got him. Never mind. Hey, whoa, how's it going? Good. Just had a big news day. 4 entire armies plus Ogres. A slightly disappointing Ogre reveal, but not the worst. Iron Blaster is possibly good as 1, if you want. We'll just listen to this play out, I suppose, in the background. and free heroic trait that isn't a heroic trait. Like just free big name. Only one of them are good, but whatever. Do they shoot like cannons now? If you're thinking of lead belchers, no. Lead belchers were not one of them. It was Iron Blaster. It does shoot like a cannon. Costs 170. Has random but potentially funny shooting. Only 18 inches, but kind of almost nothing is 24 anymore, you know. 170, I think you could take it. I watched so many movies, I could make a video game, Hideo Kojima in the 80s. Yeah, and that motherfucker was right. You know? Sometimes you're right. It's rare, but it does happen. Just got home from surgery not that long ago. I hope you're alright. You're probably blasted out of your brains on some pills or something, so hey, enjoy some French. Anyway, I kind of sort of have tried my hand at game design. I've dipped my toe in it here and there. I consider coming up with stuff for D&D to be kind of like game design. You know, if you're running a game. And I've ran many D&D games, and Rifts games, and Palladium games, and Pathfinder games, and Shadowrun games, and blah blah blah. I've done ttrpgs for 30 years. And so, I've done a decent amount of homebrew stuff like that, which technically kind of counts. It's sort of like the fan fiction of writing, but it technically counts. I made all those magic cards for the AoS set, which was a fun experience. So I've kind of done it a little bit, but really doing it, I think, is a lot different. It'd be nice to try. If I were rich, I probably could. Maybe you don't have to be rich. I don't know. Just try it. Do development blogs or something. Stream. And be like, okay, this is the newest update. Here's playtesting. Have you ever played Ghost of Tsushima? No. I normally don't go in for Souls-likes. You know, I'm a weirdo. Normally I don't like Souls-like games. Learn the boss's route. Wait, parry, jump. Normally, I don't like that. I don't dislike it, I guess, but, like, kind of whatever. I really liked it when it was mixed with something else I like, which is turn-based. I really liked it in this game, but, you know. I mostly skipped the Souls-likes. I played Elden Ring, it was okay. I really liked everything except the combat, because I just don't care for that type of combat very much, but I could tell it was a very good game, you know? It's sort of like platforming. I don't like platforming either. Platforming is a huge part of video games, or at least it used to be, you know? Not a big platforming fan at all, especially 3D platforming. No, I shouldn't say that. I don't like either of them. But I can still play Symphony of the Night or Metroid and understand that they're, like, obviously so good. They're undeniably good, but I just don't like that type of game, really, for me. I prefer to watch a speedrun of it or something, more so. Oh, it's not a Souls-like game. It's just a really good samurai game. Okay. I think I'm getting two of them confused. One of them is Ghost of Tsushima, and the other one is the Souls-like one, which I can't remember the name of. And there are two of them, and they sound similar, and they're kind of looking similar, but they're different, I guess. I often get them confused, maybe. Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, I think. Yeah. Ghost of Tsushima and Sekiro, I think I mix up those two. Well, I beat everything that could be beat. Beat it twice, New Game Plus. Beat the hardest guy by parrying everything and learning and getting good with a solo character. And just only parrying. And then I beat the optimization boss by coming up with a build and killing him before he could act. So I did it both ways. And it was all very fun and enjoyable, and I liked it. How nice. But I can't play it anymore because I did everything. And I did everything twice. We're done. So now I need a new game. Yo, the EQMU server I play on just got a new big update. Oh boy. But yeah, maybe Disco. Maybe that's the next one because I like big story games that involve reading a lot. I gotta do something before Persona 6 comes out in 2038 on the PlayStation 11. I think I'm just gonna pass on Doom Dank Ages. I think I'm just passing on it. No offense. It's the most Warhammer Doom I've ever seen, but I'm not really looking for that. What happened to the Gundog game? Oh, I could bring that one back. I forgot about that. Gundog, the Gundam PC-98 Nostalgia Trip game. Was it secretly a harem game? I don't know. I wasn't going to play it like it was because the main character is canonically in a relationship. I'm not a cheetah. You know? Anyway, I could continue that one, I suppose. What is this what? Seif. You're like, what? The VA for Clea in English was Lae'zel? Yes. Yeah. Clea in English was Lae'zel, and Mael in English was Shadowheart. The VA scene for games is surprisingly small. You will begin to notice the same names over and over. It's just funny they got paired together again for probably another Game of the Year. Yeah, actually, the Magic Touch. The Magic Touch. Back-to-back Game of the Year games to be working on. Did you know Sam Witwer, the voice actor for Starkiller and Maul, really likes Baldur's Gate 3? I didn't know that. He's got good taste. Baldur's Gate 3 is good. Good game. Starkiller, man. Was that The Force Unleashed? Was that the game, or am I thinking of a different one? Speaking of bad writing, holy... Then again, it's Star Wars. I mean, what do you want? At least when Lucas was writing it, it was fucking funny bad. Starkiller is the most fanfiction ass name for a character. Jesus. That's the name of my Shadow the Hedgehog self-insert. crushed under the burden of being so powerful. It's such a burden to be so OP. No one will know my pain. Production dogs Monoko and Freya. Monoko was a production dog, dude. He produced infinite stunlock, infinite damage action. My boy. Kind of nice with it. That's the one, and Lucas wanted to make him Darth Icky. Darth Icky. It's like when you ask Lucas what you want to name something, and then suddenly he becomes underlit. All the other lights dim down in the whole room. Oh god, what is he gonna say now? Darth Icky. Hey, right, game super beaten. AoS news, kind of nice with it. Could have been worse for Ogres. We got a free rule no matter what you do, so that's nice. 3 more remain. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then that Friday, tier list. And then, I don't know what dreams may come. We'll see. TY for watching. Thanks for the subs and the bits. Oh yeah, and the Prime. I'll see you guys tomorrow for day 1 of 4 of the last of day 30 of streams in a row. Hey, all right.